listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. And how are you, Miller and Moulton, on this Thursday, this NFL schedule release Thursday? The new phone books are here. The new phone books are here.
This guy hates these cans.
Does Felipe even know?
No, he has no
reference?
clue.
Or were we 13 seconds into the show and you needed to hit the bell? By the way, where's the bell? Where's a bell? You're not doing anything.
That's true. That's on me.
You're done with college. You have nothing to do. When this show is done, you download stuff onto the website. By 11 a.m., your day is done.
Oh, no. By 10:15 a.m. now. He's got this so wired. The podcasts are up every hour after the hour by, the 6 o'clock hour is up by probably 6:10.
Wow.
Now, I've been watching what's going on. He's got the show down, but he is giving us nothing. He has graduated, and he is basically already, I've got it made now.
He didn't even shower this morning, which means he's going to be just a mess. Falling asleep about 7:43. Unbelievable. Get a bell. Get a bell. And every time we mention something, you have no idea what it is, hit the bell. Do you have any idea what the new phone books are here? The new phone books are here refers to?
No. This is 3 seconds in.
Steve Martin in the movie The Jerk. And he goes running.
You may think of the both of us right now.
Right. He goes running down the street yelling, the new phone books are here. The new phone books are here. And that was the phrase that I stole back in the day when the NFL schedule would be released between about 2 and 4 in the afternoon. Why? Because we did a show between 2 and 6. It was fantastic.
I've been looking up these national days, David, and today's National Limerick Day. And I know you're the writer of the two of us. I'm hoping you could come up with a scheduled limerick between now and the end of the show.
Not even interested in playing along. Nope.
No limericks for you?
No.
Maybe Felipe can write a limerick over there and keep himself awake.
He'll fall asleep in the middle of it. That is for sure. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? The Florida Sports Network. Nice little sports night last night. Nice comebacks. It was Comeback Wednesday, baby. That was the theme of the night, except in the case of Golden State. They didn't show up to come back. No. In fact, the theme for Golden State was we stayed back. We stayed home. We sent impersonators out onto the floor last night in Memphis. When your team wins by that much, and for those that don't know, Memphis beat Golden State by 39 in a game that was not that close because Memphis was up 52 going to the fourth. That's 5-2. I mean, if you're a fan and you pay all that, 52, you turn around, you look away, you're halfway through the game, you're like, well, this thing's over.
At least your team's winning. You are at home and your team's winning. Blowouts are fun if you're on the right side of them.
You want to get a bite to eat here? What do you do when your team's up 52 going to the fourth? Do you stay? Do you leave to be parking?
I'd be gone.
So are the Grizzlies better without John Morant?
The record says, 21-6, 22-6, something like that, including playoffs? So we were all over that one. We both loved them getting the points. We both thought they'd win outright.
I had a pretty good night last night.
Yeah, you called the Rangers over the Penguins. I thought they were done. Put a fork in them.
I had all three home teams in hockey, and the only one I missed on was I had Boston last night, and Milwaukee won. Little 4-1 night.
And I had Milwaukee. That was the one I got right. So I got the Rangers wrong and Milwaukee right. We did. We had a good night if you listen to us.
That's not bad.
No, we should not make a single prediction about tonight. Nothing. Rest on our Wednesday night laurels. Let's see how we're standing Friday morning.
Take that right back to the window and double down, baby. Come on, you know how to do this.
You're one of those.
We're on a heater.
Right, on a heater. No, I think you got to at least have 2 nights in a row. Got to have a win streak. It's kind of like the Reds. You need to make it 2 in a row, 3 out of 4. And all of a sudden, okay.
You know, Mark, you were a couple borderline Hall of Fame defensive plays from Drew Holiday away from predicting Boston to win correctly.
He may not make it till 10 o'clock.
No.
He
doesn't realize I've got some really good texts from people that I could replace him with right now.
We do have people, Felipe. There's something you need to be aware of. All right. There are constantly people auditioning for your job.
Constantly.
And they're sending us material. This is what you should do. All right. Tell Felipe this. All right. That.
Like this person. Yesterday, we had our whole poll question revolved around, could you land the plane? This guy texted, he listens to this podcast, that you guys totally missed a killer poll question this morning. In parentheses, he said again. That again, I direct towards you. If you were a passenger in a small plane and Miller and Moulton Felipe were on the plane with you and the pilot became incapacitated, who would you rather have take the controls? That was the question yesterday. These are the things that we're looking for out of a producer.
You're right. I was too focused on myself.
Which has kind of been a theme.
Well, he's 21. I mean, let's be honest. It goes with the territory.
I mean, I just think I could fly a plane.
And play defense. And there's a lot of things that you think you can do that we're not really sure whether or not you can.
Yep. I will say everybody's rip-roaring this morning. Johnny Mack in our Twitch chat room at 601 goes, remember, guys, that international runway is really wide.
Really wide.
Yep. We are off to a good start.
But the Panthers did not get off to a good start.
No.
And the comeback Cats did it again, down 3 spit mid-second. Or early second, actually.
Tied it before the second period was done. Won it in the third. And they're up 3-2.
And down 1-0, they looked like they were in control of the game. Down 2-0, they were still pressing. Down 3-0, I have to admit, I got a little nervous.
Yeah, at 3-0, I thought.
Because at 2-0, they were still buzzing.
Well, and also 2-0. I mean, you got plenty of time just to get one back. And once you get one back, right. But at 3-0, you're like, oh, wow.
But the manner in which Washington was scoring goals, that Florida would make a mistake. It's in the back of their net.
Exactly.
Florida's buzzing. They make a mistake. It's in the back of their net again.
Oh, she snipes one top corner, and you're like, oh, man. I mean, you're even thinking to yourself, man, if I pull Bobrovsky here, it's not his fault.
No.
And, but sometimes you just do it to wake up the rest of the team. And I thought they were a few minutes away from pulling the goalie.
The only reason I think they didn't consider it is that they were buzzing. They were relentless offensively. And once they got the 3-1 goal, it didn't let up. They tied it by the end of the second, get the goal in the third, as David mentioned, and they win 5-3 to go up 3-2 in that series.
Been a while since we've had an NHL the way it is now. You can even go back a night. Lightning with a 2-1 lead in the third, unable to hold on against Toronto. I mean, for the longest time, if you took the lead into the third period in the NHL, you did not lose. Never mind, teams didn't give up multi-goal leads in the playoffs. I mean, for example, Mark, the Rangers came back from a 2-goal deficit in the second period last night to beat the Penguins. When's the last time the Rangers came back in a playoff game from a 2-goal deficit? 9 years ago. Now, the Rangers just went through a little 4-year drought where they didn't make the playoffs, but the Rangers played about 50 playoff games between 2013 and 2017. In fact, they probably played about 70 playoff games in that 5-year period of time. And they went to 3 conference finals and a Stanley Cup final. Played a lot of playoff games. Had never come back from a 2-goal deficit in a single game. I mean, there's a lot more scoring. I mean, as long as you don't watch the Dallas-Calgary series. But there's a lot more scoring in the NHL right now. There was in the regular season, and it's continued in the playoffs. It's very entertaining.
It really is. The style, as you mentioned, they don't allow the clutching and grabbing. They don't allow the restriction of movement. They let these players use the entire ice, and when that happens, they're gifted, and we get unbelievable play. And not to mention these guys, the way they tip the puck now is like nothing I've ever seen before.
And we wondered, because they've been calling a lot of penalties during the regular season in the NHL. But usually in the playoffs, look the other way. It's a lot like the NFL. I mean, let's face it. They call holding on a regular basis during the regular season. In the playoffs, take a felony. to get a holding penalty. It really would. And we wondered, they're going to go back to, just letting all the stick infractions and what have you. Not really.
Not really. And they're continuing to call the interference, which to me, that's the big part of it, David, is that, that's the one where players could just kind of get in the way and they let a lot of that go. They're still calling it. They're giving teams 2-man advantages in the postseason. So I'm with you.
And then there was the basketball game. And I'm guessing not a lot of people in our audience are emotionally wrapped up in Milwaukee and Boston. Milwaukee's playing without their second best player.
Right.
And Boston's a really good team. They're not a great team. This group hasn't accomplished anything in the playoffs. They had one run to a conference final with Brad Stevens. But, this is just a talented, tough group of players to beat. Milwaukee's down 14 on the road. And Giannis says, follow me. The old Charlie Steiner Sports Center promo. Follow me to freedom.
Boy, and when he gets it going,
Woo!
Is he fun to watch.
Man. And Boston can defend on the inside, although not having Robert Williams is a big loss because he would be in the middle to try to clog things up some more for Giannis. But, man, it's that Rudy Tomjanovich line, Mark, from nearly 30 years ago now, in which he said, never underestimate the heart of a champion. And it's why until the Leafs can put a stake in the Lightning, I am betting the Lightning. And it was why I liked Milwaukee going into the game in Boston last night, because one team's a champion and the other team's just trying to be.
And that type of fourth quarter beatdown is tough to overcome. Now they've got to go on the road and try to get a game 6. Boston lost the series for a lot of people last night in the fourth quarter.
You and I have a theory in baseball. First team to blow a save in a playoff series loses, because it's tough to get that game back in such a short period of time. You almost feel as if you're a Celtic fan, as if, wow, we got to win 5 games now to win this series, because, man, did we let that one get away.
And against a team that's this good,
right,
that is going to be difficult to do.
We'll say if you ever take the playoffs into account, you start voting for MVP, the MVP vote starts getting real different. Maybe it's why it's a regular season award. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for waking up with us, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Paul, I don't think the Panthers are over the hump the same way the Leafs aren't over the hump. Until you're on the winning end of the handshake line, you're not over the hump. Because think about it. What if the Panthers and Leafs both lose game 6 on the road? Think about the pressure on them in a game 7 at home. And KM, if I'm Fox, I'm running Brady promos too. That kind of money, it's Tom flipping Brady. In American sport right now, would the Mount Rushmore of American sport at this moment in time be Tiger, Jordan, LeBron, Brady?
Williams.
Who?
Williams.
Who?
Serena Williams.
No.
Oh.
No. And there's no bigger Serena fan than me. No. I'm talking just about, power, influence, accomplishment, superstar.
Yeah.
Brady, Tiger, Jordan, LeBron.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, and you're Fox, and you signed one of them. Yeah, I'd run that sucker up the flagpole every day.
Why doesn't Fox do NBA games?
Because they didn't pay a contract for them.
Yeah, they've
If
never
they awarded the contract when it comes for bid, then they would be able to air the games.
CBS had it in the 80s. NBC had it in the 90s. ABC had it along with Turner for 20 years now. I don't know if Fox, Felipe, ever seriously, even put in an offer for the NBA.
Look, we've all made mistakes. You just want to learn from those mistakes and how you can correct them going forward.
Put your pants leg on one leg at a time.
That's Norman's quote.
Oh, that's his quote. God, we love Greg, but
Greg, who do you feel like that you've been in bed with that's a worse person? The Saudis, President Trump, or Bill Clinton? Go.
So how did Bill fall exactly?
You ever been to the island with Bill?
Paul, I vaguely remember it, but I don't think I ever watched the Bo Gretzky Hulk.
I know I've never heard of it.
Who would it be today? Go Raiders. They are better in Washington. There's no doubt. They are. But it's hockey. Many a better team has lost a series. It's that whole goalie factor. Bob's played well in the series, though. Even last night, even when they took the 4-3 lead, they gave up a bunch of odd man rushes. And
I think at 3-2, he made a big series of saves.
Yep. He's been fine.
You're a sick human, Johnny Mac. No offense. Actually, take the no offense out. You're a sick human if you wanted to go to that island. There's offense meant, and you can take it however you want. Because there were children on that island, and that's pretty gross. Maybe the grossest thing I've ever seen said in this chat room.
Do you know the Reds almost blew a 14-11 lead? I mean, a 14-5 lead in the ninth.
But they won again.
Yeah, they're on a roll.
God, I like those Brewers uniforms.
So you like those?
I think they're sharp.
The dark blue tops.
Love them.
I'm with Mark. They look really nice. So we're coming back. Yeah, hell yeah.
Put the wing helmet on. It looks like Michigan, but.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll head to Tampa in the 8 o'clock hour. Preview the Lightning for just the second time during this run, with literally their backs against the wall facing elimination. The only other time was last year's Eastern Conference Final. The Islanders won a Game 6 to force a winner-take-all Game 7. It's the only time during their back-to-back Stanley Cup championships that the Lightning played an elimination game. Well, they're playing one tonight, and it's them who could go home against Toronto. John Forsland on the call on TBS.
And you know what's been interesting in this series? While the Lightning fans are terrific and they have a great fan base, there are a lot of Canadians that are on the west coast of Florida. And there were a lot of Maple Leaf fans at that game, at those games.
Oh, they'll pay the price for the Leafs.
It's a discount compared to what they have to pay to see them in Canada. So it is, it's probably 85-15, but the Leafs fans have been noisy at these games. Hoping that isn't any part of the game. Would love to see, if Tampa could do what they did in Game 5, I like their chances.
You mean get out to the early lead?
Absolutely.
So the Lightning facing elimination tonight against the Leafs. Leafs haven't won a playoff series in 18 years. Florida Panthers haven't won a playoff series in 26 years. Got a lot going on right now. A lot of pressure. Games of consequence. This is what we love.
Absolutely. And what is fascinating, as you brought up, for as good as the Lightning have been over the course of the last 2 seasons, they've not had to face this pressure but one time. How will they deal with the pressure? And I think they'll deal with it very well. I think they're a veteran team. I love the Lightning tonight for what it's worth.
I'm with you.
I think they're kicking themselves for the way they let Game 5 get away from them.
What is interesting is that they are a very small betting favorite. They're minus 120, which I'm a little surprised about. Basically, from a betting standpoint, I mean, that's a little bit more than the juice. And I thought that of the 6 periods that were played in Tampa in Games 3 and 4, I thought the Lightning won 5 of them. I really did. Thought they had one bad period in Game 3, and it cost them the game. Otherwise, I thought they dominated the third. Thought they dominated basically every period of Game 4. The third period basically didn't count. It was 5-0 going to the third. But, yeah, I like the Lightning tonight as well. At which point, man, oh, man, the pressure, the anxiety that'll be in that building over the weekend north of the border if the Lightning can force it, can do it. Just like, those in the Twitch chat room who are wondering, Panthers got over the hump last night. Huh?
Not until they win the series.
No.
And if they win a series, David, then look out.
Right.
Because to me, we talked about Pittsburgh and said, David and I both think Pittsburgh, we thought before the series they could beat the Rangers. David picked the Rangers, but that's not discounting what we thought Pittsburgh could do in that series. After that, we thought the Pens were done.
Right. They could win a series, but they can't win 2, 3, or 4 series. Florida and Toronto can win series.
If they win one.
Right. Look out.
If they win one, they can win the whole damn thing because there's so much pressure on both teams. And Florida, I think, helped them. I mean, obviously helped themselves, but got over a lot of that pressure last night. That comeback was big for the Cats. But they've not been, I thought the most impressive thing was they got to 5 goals last night. And that wasn't an empty netter. They scored late in the third, about 4 minutes left. So the fact that they got to 5 last night is as important to me as winning because they had a difficult time scoring goals in this series.
Yes.
And last night, finally, they were able to get some pucks behind the Washington goaltender because they really had trouble doing that.
And the irony of ironies, I believe if the Panthers and Leafs were to advance, they would face each other in the next round because you have to get out of your division first. But Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. One other thing I want to throw out at you, and we have been, I don't want to say obsessed, but paying very close attention to the whole PGA Tour LIV Golf Series story. I mean, we are pretty much at the point that Justin Thomas got to yesterday. But in pre-PGA hype and the Byron Nelson's going on this week, and some guys are playing and some guys are getting ready for the PGA, and JT was asked about, where golf is, and he just said, listen, to those that want to play the tour, and those that want to play the other series, just go. Just go. Just go already. He said, we've all been dealing with 2-3 months of talk on the putting green and practice range and this, that, and the other thing. Listen, and he goes, listen, there's a lot of guys that are talking about they want to do it. And JT's like, just go. Just go already.
Well, I love his point. The problem is that they're all fearful of what the repercussions of going are. I do think for a lot of them, even though the cash is so big, there's a lot of them that see the Champions Tour as another cash grab when they become a little bit older. I think they still want to play in the occasional tour event that they like, and I don't think they want to look like a traitor. I think image is everything to so many of these players.
Well, that I agree with. Also, I do think PGA Tour players are some of the most thin-skinned, quote-unquote, athletes that we have. They get so little criticism, and when somebody says something that is semi-cross, oh my goodness, people get bent out of shape.
I mean, think about JT. Someone yelled, hit it in the bunker. After he hit a shot, he had the person removed from the golf course.
Right, thrown out.
Patrick Reed's parents came to watch him in the U.S. Open, paid for tickets to see him at Pinehurst. He doesn't like his parents. He had him thrown out. Think about that.
Now, we get into the fact that they removed his parents is one thing, but what Mark is saying, and they weren't talking to him either. It's not like they were hounding him. They were walking the course, watching their son play. He had him removed. And this was a U.S. Open. I mean,
DeChambeau's had people removed. Right. Now, he gets heckled pretty hard.
Yes.
But think about it. You're playing a road game in Philadelphia. I want that fan removed. He said something I didn't like. And that's the golf world. And we love golf.
Yeah. And obviously, the markets that we're in, this is the golf capital of America, Florida. It's unquestioned. What I found interesting was the comments by the head of the PGA of America, who said that he has talked a lot with Phil over the last 2-3 months. And he gave the impression that, because Phil's in the field, but Phil has not committed to playing in the PGA Championship yet. And the head of the PGA there said, I think Phil just doesn't want to deal with the media. Like, he does not want to have to answer the questions about the last 3-4 months. I think he's trying to move on from it, and he doesn't know how to. So he doesn't want to sit down, and he just wants to show up, play golf, and leave.
Tough, Phil. I don't know what to tell you. You had a running stream of consciousness that we've all heard. At some point, you've got to answer a question or two.
I just don't think it's that hard. I think he's overthinking it. First off, you just say, listen, I've said everything that I have to say. I have nothing more to say. What you been doing the last 3 months? Practicing. I just want to look ahead to the PGA Championship. You going to play in London? I don't know. I mean, hasn't anybody learned anything from Belichick and the Patriots? Miller and Moulton. The starting five is next. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. You know, I've got an ugly story here where a guy got shot in the ass by his wife.
Really?
In Naples. Of course, I'd like to spend the rest of my life with her. That's my baby. Till the toe tags. My journey with her has come to the end. So he also said, that's my wife, right? I love her. She was good to me. She gave me a better life, bro, but she's crazy as fuck. Would you take your wife back if she shot you in the ass?
Yeah. So that's what I'm referencing the bottom there. Nance thinks Mickelson will emerge.
You know, David, they've waived adoption fees for kittens in Lee County through the end of May.
God, you really don't like me very much, do you? Look, Mark doesn't even want to show his face. That was such an a-hole of the day moment right there.
Maybe I'll just tweet that towards your wife. You're on National Limerick Day.
Come back.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. For those that are close enough to join us, make your plans now. In fact, you can go to floridasportsnetwork.com and register, sign up for our first golf outing. We're going to try to hit every market at least once a year. And we start in what is our broadcast backyard of Southwest Florida, June 11th, West Bay Golf Club. Very nice track. We feed you. Nice golf shirt of some kind. And raise a little money for charity as well. Hot steaming deal. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com and sign up. And if you have any problems, let us know, because we got everything up and running last night. And there was a glitch for a couple hours, but we think we've taken care of it.
Looks to be taken care of.
Hot steaming deal. All right. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to see. Let's keep this sucker on the tracks. At least until we get on the air from 6 to 10, and then we derail the empire as much as we can.
Best we can.
Felipe, if you're still awake, do it up.
The starting five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Florida Panthers made a little NHL history last night. The 6th time this season. 6th time. They were down 3 or more goals in a game, and they came back to win. Down 3-0 early second. Panthers tie it up, head into the third, score twice in the third, and win it 5-3. They're up 3-2 on the Caps. Game 6, they could be on the winning end of a handshake line, something they haven't done since the first term of the Clinton administration. Carter Verhaeghe, 2 goals, 3 assists, Mark, literally involved in all 5 goals.
Set a Florida Panther playoff point record, taking out Ray Shepard, who did it back when they won their last playoff series in 96.
They were throwing plastic rats onto the ice after the win. They're almost there. 1 win away. Can they do it? Rangers stayed alive. They were down 2-0 in the second period. They hadn't overcome a playoff deficit like that in 9 years. But they rallied, beat the Penguins 5-3. Big story in the game, Crosby hurt Clean hit, late second. Looks to be a right shoulder injury, but it was difficult to tell. He didn't favor it, skated to the bench, and then the next stoppage of play, he went into the locker room, never to return. And let's face it, they got a journeyman goalie at best.
At best.
Crosby plays, they win. Crosby doesn't play, Rangers may come back and steal this series.
They could.
But Game 6 will be in Pittsburgh, where the Penguins have scored 7 twice. Calgary scored 3 in the third to beat Dallas 3-1. Flames lead that series 3-2. 4 Game 6s tonight in the NHL. In the East, the road teams are trailing and facing elimination. Tampa needs a win against Toronto, and Boston needs a win against Carolina. I say Carolina wraps it up tonight.
I agree with you.
Lightning force a Game 7.
I certainly hope so.
Out west, the home teams have a chance to force the handshake line. Blues up 3-2 on the Wild. Kings up 3-2 on the Oilers, who will play the game without their number one defenseman, Darnell Nurse. He's suspended because he headbutted an LA King in Game 5.
Still like Edmonton tonight. I have no idea in the Blues Wild series. None.
Let me ask you this, if you're the Wild. You've played Fleury in all 5 games. He's not the reason that you've lost. His save percentage is like 91. But you're down 3-2 in the series. Fleury was like the 1A goalie down the stretch. They kept alternating. All right. Do you go to Talbot if you're coaching the Wild tonight? He hasn't played at all in the series, which means he hasn't played a game in 2 weeks. Would you make the change and goal?
I wouldn't.
I don't even know if the coach has the authority to.
I don't think that he does.
Since we're all convinced the GM made the decision. NBA. Remember, the Milwaukee Bucks are the defending champions. Many of us keep forgetting that. They reminded everyone last night. Trailed basically the whole way. We're down 14 in the fourth. Giannis said, "Follow me, boys." With some key plays down the stretch by Drew Holiday, Bobby Portis with an offensive rebound off a missed free throw and a putback with 11 seconds to go gave the Bucks a 1-point lead. They got a stop. They hit their free throws. Milwaukee comes from 14 down to beat Boston in Boston 110-107. Bucks now lead that series 3-2. I don't see the Bucks blowing the series now.
I don't see him blowing the series, but I could still see it going 7.
Yeah. I mean, remember, Milwaukee won in Brooklyn in a Game 7 in the second round last year, so they've proven they can do that. And they won the finals in Phoenix in Game 6. So they can win big road closeout games if need be.
They won the finals in Milwaukee.
Oh, Phoenix had home court in that series? My
Yes.
bad. My bad. Good call. Memphis, meanwhile. Wow. Up 27 at the half, up 52 going to the fourth. They beat Golden State by 39, 134-95 to stay alive. Game 6 will be out by the Bay. Couple of Game 6s tonight. Can the Heat put away the 76ers? Philly's a 2-point favorite. I like the Heat. You taking the home team tonight? Road team hasn't won a game in this series. Sixers are a 2-point favorite tonight. I'll take the Heat.
I'm not ready yet.
Okay.
I think you're right.
Phoenix is in Dallas. Home teams won every game in that series. Mavs are getting 2 at home. Luka with some pointed words after Game 5 in which he said something to the effect of, yeah, everybody's talking tough. When it came time to show up, where were you? I like Phoenix tonight as well. I'm going with the road teams in the
I definitely
association,
like
Mark.
Phoenix.
Felipe, anything? This is your alley, baby. It's the association. He's not even confident about the Heat. Wow.
No, We're gonna carry the momentum.
We-
My bad.
we-
No.
no.
The Heat.
No,
Miami.
too late.
Went we?
Dang. Messed up.
There you go. Perfect game is
Oh,
lost.
it was already done.
It's early.
He gave up a hit on the first swing today. He was just trying to get out of the first inning.
I will say he did not have a good bullpen, Felipe. You know how some pitchers, they have a good warm-up? Felipe did not have a good warm-up today.
Miami carries the momentum. They win in Philly.
You're already down 3-0 in the third here. Just try to throw strikes, just throw some innings for your team. Maybe they'll score some runs for you. Baseball, the Rays. McClanahan knew he was pitching against Ohtani, and he was up to the challenge. 7 shutout innings. Ohtani gave up 1 earned run in 6 innings. He also had a hit. Angels got a 2-run homer in the 8th to force extras. Tampa wins it in 10, 4-2. The Marlins said enough is enough in the 9th inning yesterday. They were tied at 3 with Arizona. They said enough of this 1-run game stuff. They scored 8 in the 9th. They win at 11-3. Christian Yelich hit for the cycle. He set a major league record by hitting in his 3rd cycle of his career. That's a single, double, triple, and home run in a game. He's now done it 3 times. That's remarkable. Is he 30? I think he just turned 30. That's unreal. Anyway, Cincinnati beat Milwaukee. Bengals over the Packers, 14-11. Reds scored 6 in the 8th.
Crosby's been missing extra points, so they had to go for 2.
I understand. Milwaukee actually scored 6 in the 9th. So it was 14-5 going to the 9th, and the Reds had to sweat it out. But hey, they just win a series?
Where are you going to go?
After winning a series against Pittsburgh? What's going on here? Gleyber Torres had a big day, a homer and 5 RBIs. The Yankees are 22-8. Thank you very much. Best record in baseball. They beat Toronto again, 5-3 the final. Same score, Pittsburgh beat the Dodgers. Daniel Vogelback with the go-ahead homer for the Pirates. Phillies doubled up Seattle 4-2. Hoskins homered for the 3rd straight game for Philly. Rivas with a 2 RBI single in the 8th for the Cubs to beat the Padres 7-5. Giants have now beaten the Rockies 10 times in a row, 7-1 the final. Oakland shut out Detroit 9-0. Torkelson's hitting about $130. Baez is hitting 225. Cabrera is one of the leading hitters in the lineup. He's hitting like 268. Man, they were supposed to be better than this.
Right, their season's already done.
Yeah, it is.
It's over.
Braves 5-3 over the Red Sox. Arcia with a 2-run homer in the 9th to win it. Washington scored 8 runs in the first 2 innings, beat the Mets 8-3. Houston and the Twins are suspended in the 4th with the Astros leading 5-1. St. Louis is 2 back of the Brewers thanks to their 10-1 win over the Orioles. And the Royals beat Texas 8-2. The Guardians-White Sox game was postponed because of COVID. I think we all thought we were past that. Apparently, Terry Francona tested positive for COVID. They were afraid of a COVID outbreak amongst the Guardians, and they postponed the game yesterday because of COVID.
Interesting. I didn't think we'd have that anymore.
No. I think a lot of people, including in Major League Baseball, thought we would pass that. So, golf, Brooks Koepka withdraws from the Byron Nelson Classic, no reason given. And Justin Thomas, to those that are trying to figure out what it is they want to do, said, listen, either play the tour or just go. All right. Is that going to be a slogan, kind of like where are you going to go? Play the tour or just go?
Or just go.
The NFL schedule is released at 8 o'clock tonight. There will be many leaks over the next 13 hours. Many. I think there's an official leak. I think NBC gets their leak on the Today Show today.
That's the only network we have left that's not announced a game.
Right. And then PR people in amongst teams will be slowly leaking stuff out mid to late afternoon. and what have you. Jags cut their kicker, Matthew Wright, yesterday. Remember, he's the guy who made the 2 50-plus yard field goals to beat the Dolphins in London. But I think they drafted a kicker, so Matthew Wright out of a gig. And that gentleman was...
That was the starting five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Miller and Moulton on this Thursday.
You know, I was looking through some of the schedule leaks, David. I think one thing that's going to happen is it looks like you will complete your stadium tour this year.
A Monday night game in Pittsburgh?
Looks like week 9, Bears at Steelers.
Cool.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way doing what you do on Saturdays to see every college stadium. There just isn't. The way the networks go and you work for conferences, have you seen all the SEC stadiums yet?
Yeah.
They finally got you everywhere?
Yeah. We've done 2 games from Vandy, believe it or not. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I don't think I'll ever get to see Texas or Oklahoma. I don't think they'll ever play a game on CBS, but yes, the current SEC, all 14 teams, yes.
And 31 of the 32 NFL you were able to see.
Right.
And now Pittsburgh, the only one left. And it looks like, if this is right from the schedule leaks, that the Bears at Steelers week 9 is a Monday Night Football game.
Don't know how good either team will be, but 2 big fan bases should do a decent rating.
It'll actually do a really good rating.
What week did you say it is?
Week 9.
That's like right after Halloween, I think.
So I've got a few of your Monday night games on here that I'm seeing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm going to write them down and just see how accurate they are.
That's what I think we'll need to do during the break, is take a look at the NFL schedule leaks and see how good they are in Monday Night Football, because I've seen a lot of them, and they've been pretty accurate over the years. He's got pretty good sources.
What is fascinating is who every team is playing has been out there for 4 months, but the order in which they are put in apparently is the appeal. Because we know who's playing who, and we know where they're playing.
Schedule game.
Sports radio at its worst. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program,
The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, the Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I have a question. Are teams like testing for COVID still?
I didn't think they were.
I didn't think they were unless you said you didn't feel well. Trey Turner has already hit for the cycle 3 times. Wow. That's unbelievable for such a young player.
No, ironically, this guy does not have any Monday. Now I finally got it. He's got nothing for Monday night so far. Only one he's got is a week 10, Eagles at Commanders.
So he's got.
That's the only one he's got.
Okay, let me draw a line.
And then the Broncos Raiders week 1.
Philly at Washington, week 10. We know week 1 is Denver at Vegas, baby.
Ooh, here's one for you.
Hold on.
You got one more here.
Okay.
Packers at Dolphins, week 9.
Come back.
For a Monday?
Yeah.
are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll head to Tampa next hour. Get a preview. Game 6, Lightning Leafs. Tampa Bay facing elimination just the second time in the last 3 postseasons for the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions. Do they force a Game 7 north of the border? Also, Bobby Burack at the very top of his profession, covering sports media. We'll talk to him about the madness that has ensued amongst NFL broadcasting networks and announcers and the salaries and what he thinks it all means. Bobby Burack in about an hour and a half. We need a poll question.
We do.
Throwing that out there. And considering that we're bad at it and our listeners seem to be better at it than us, I mean, feel free. Twitch chat room, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, or the text line. If you've done it before, then you know how to do it. If not, text us for the first time, FSN Radio, all one word, to 21,000. FSN Radio to 21,000. Mark, we've been aware of this NFL stat. We have harped on it for a while, over a decade, going back to midway through our first act. But we figured out that at least 4 teams every season who miss the playoffs the year before make the playoffs the next year in the NFL. 32 consecutive seasons now. You have to go back to 1990. 32 consecutive seasons in which a minimum of 4 teams who miss the playoffs will make it the next year. So I'm just going to slowly go through the names. 4 of these teams will make the playoffs. In the AFC, Indianapolis, Miami, the Chargers, the Browns, the Ravens, the Broncos, and then the Jets, the Texans, and the Jags.
By the way, you know, you could make a case for the first group of teams you listed, and I know that's why you listed them slowly as you did. I mean,
there were 6 teams in which Indianapolis, Miami, the Chargers, remember, they all had winning records last year.
right?
Then Cleveland and Baltimore were both 8 and 9. And Denver, without Russell Wilson, was 7 and 10. And then you get to the 3 bad teams that are still seen as at least a year away in the Jets, the Texans, and the Jags. Okay. NFC. How many of these teams do you now look at and go, you know, that sounds like a playoff team to me? Only one of them had a winning record. That was the Saints, who lost out in a tiebreaker last year at 9 and 8. Vikings, 8 and 9. A few 7-win teams: Washington, Seattle, Atlanta. Yeah, that's right. Atlanta won 7 games last year.
Right.
Chicago, who won 6. Carolina, who won 5. The Giants, who won 4. And the Lions, who won 3. Now, you go through this list and you're like, well, man, the better teams are in the AFC. Yeah, the problem is the better teams are in the AFC.
Exactly. I mean, you look at the AFC, we just gave you the list of who didn't make it. That means we've got Chiefs, Raiders, Titans, Bengals, Bills, all on there. And I know the Patriots and Steelers technically qualify, but I know we don't think as highly of them.
Well, and I think a lot of people are going to circle New England and Pittsburgh as, you know, hey, these are 2 teams that we think maybe overachieved a little last year, although I had the Patriots as a playoff team, and we think that somebody will pass them this year. Okay.
Well, in the AFC, I think it would be pretty easy if we just said, take the division winners, which one doesn't make the playoffs? I think a lot of people would vote for Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill's performance in the postseason, not very good. A.J. Brown now no longer with them. So I think Tennessee would be an easy one. How good's Kansas City going to be next year?
They're going to be good. I mean, at least going to be playoff good. Tough to imagine, unless something happens to number 15, that they're not going to be at least playoff good. Here's the problem. We don't think there's a whole lot of good teams in the NFC. We think there's like 12 of them in the AFC.
But look at the double-digit loss teams, because that's the other stat. Usually there is a double-digit loss team that will make the postseason. And now that we have 7 and 10, it does add teams like the Falcons and Washington.
Well, I think
to the mix.
The trendy
Denver.
That'll be the trendy double-digit loss team. 7 and 10, a big upgrade at quarterback with Russell. They can at least flip that. If you flip it, you're right there. Maybe you get in, maybe you don't, but you're right there. So just something to keep in mind. Schedules are coming out. Every fan, whether they admit it or not, they're going to take a look at their team, and they will take about 34 seconds and play the schedule game. Win-loss, win-loss.
I have a schedule game problem. I will play the schedule game with a minimum of 6 teams tonight. A minimum. All 3 Florida teams. I do it with the Lions because I can't help myself.
Will your wife do it with her Steelers?
No.
Will you do it for her?
Yes.
Will you
I have the
say
season tickets now. I got to see what the record's going to be when these games are coming out and what these tickets are going to be worth.
Will you say, hey, honey, let's play the schedule game together with your Steelers?
She'll admit it. She's a bad fan.
In what way? How can you be a bad fan?
Her fandom is not nearly of the level that it once was. It is so second. No, but I mean, sports to her have become. When I met her, she was a sports fan. When we first dated, she was a sports fan.
Yeah, she was a big sports fan.
She's not a sports fan anymore.
Well,
she's a gymnastics fan. And she's a mom, and she's a busy mom at that. But between work and daughter and the 3 months worth of collegiate gymnastics we have on the DVR, she's good.
I have a question. How much of this shall we blame on you? How much?
None.
Are you sure?
Yeah, she blames herself.
Huh.
She said it. She was, I have become a bad sports fan.
I'm just wondering if, I mean, let's face it. I mean, you and I have our charm, but we're not easy to live with.
No, but she likes football Sunday. She, when the games are on, she'll watch if she can.
So this is not a you thing.
No,
you did not suck. I mean, we have a tendency. I mean, let's be honest, guys. Sometimes we can suck the life out of our partner at times. All right. I'm just wondering whether or not you feel any of this is on you.
No. And David, you're far removed from being a young parent.
Right. No, I know.
There was a TikTok that I saw the other day. The caption just simply said, men, how is it you can go to the restroom for 27 minutes and not be bothered? And I'm in here for 13 seconds and someone wants a Go-Gurt open. That's really what it is. It is the whole mom drinking game because they don't ask for dad. They just ask for mom, no matter what. Right. My wife has changed her name on her birthday and Mother's Day. She becomes Queen Victoria. And my daughter is only allowed to refer to her as such.
That's fabulous.
That is the only way we can keep mom out of her mouth for an entire day. And it's like, and I'll tell you what, Felipe going wee with the heat, or my daughter on one of those days, Queen Victoria. I mean, it's really close.
That's glorious right there. That really is. It's so funny. Our daughter's 25, just had her first child. And my wife will say to me, did you talk to your daughter today? And I said, yeah. How is she? Well, she's fine. My wife would look at me, and the conversations that they have with us versus the conversations they have with them are two entirely different worlds. I'd say to my daughter all the time, you don't have to lie to me. You can tell me the truth. I can handle it. This just in. I've lived what you're about to live. Honestly, I understand. No, they keep it from us. It's like we're fragile. We're an egg. We can't handle it.
Maybe we are. Just depends how we are and which day, scrambled or fried.
Well, I'm definitely scrambled. That is for sure. Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. NFL schedules come out in a little more than 12 hours. Yes, the new phone books are here. The new phone books are here, and you get to play the game as well.
All right, we went through the division leaders. I think it's easy in the AFC. I think a lot of people will pick against Tennessee to win the division.
Yeah, which is funny. They've had 6 straight winning seasons. I do feel the need to point that out to people. The Colts have not won that division in 8 years.
I think Cincinnati will be another team that people will not pick to win the division. I think those two would lead. Kansas City and the Bills will get the benefit of the doubt.
Huh. That's interesting. That could be a poll question, by the way. We could pick a conference, list the 4 division winners from last year, and say which team that won the division last year will not win it this year.
That's kind of what I'm getting to, because you've got Tennessee and Cincinnati in the AFC. You know, the NFC, is anybody going to pick anyone not named Dallas? I mean, you're really going to not pick Green Bay, Tampa Bay? You going against the LA Rams with what's in that division? Maybe San Francisco and the Rams?
Well, how about this? Let's assume the 4 locks, because they're heavy favorites, are Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Buffalo, and Kansas City.
I like it.
So then list the other 4 division winners and say which one of these division winners will not win the division this year.
I like it.
So then the 4 choices would be Dallas, the LA Rams,
the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Tennessee Titans.
There you go.
Look at that.
Look at that. 2 of the 4 teams were in the Super Bowl, and they're on the list.
Uh-huh.
The odds say, by the way, at least one of those teams won't even make the playoffs. But we're just asking which one won't repeat as division champs. I do think a lot of people are going to pick the Eagles, by the way, and bet against the Cowboys.
And I think a lot of people are going to bet against the Bengals, too.
Well, and with good reason. And first off, they only won the division at 10-7.
Bingo. And the last place team was 8-9. Does anybody think that division is going to be much different this year?
Is the NFL ever going to get around to suspending Deshaun Watson? How much more time you need for that investigation? I mean, Major League Baseball's already suspended Trevor Bauer, for goodness sake. I mean, if you're Cleveland, don't you want to know the answer?
Absolutely. You got a Baker Mayfield problem.
And then some. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals. The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with the Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Panthers have yet to score on the power play, right?
Now that would have been a game to go to. They're showing the highlights of Panthers Caps. Unreal comeback. That was bust a move right there. Hey, Deke. Got him. That would have been a hell of a game to go to.
What game?
The Panthers game last night.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Arch, I don't know what he did last night, but he looks a mess. The coffee's not even kicking in. Yeah, I know. It's a party voice. It's like you went to a game last night. Sound a little grovelly. Let me tell you, it takes a lot to sound like that at 21.
Ooh.
When did you start smoking?
I did not start smoking.
Felt like you had a couple of heaters last night.
Just heating my mouth up with some coffee. I'm now making like 3 alternative sounds to put when I don't know what something is. Five seconds.
Man.
Bad, it's bad.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. A reminder, we've got a golf tournament coming up in a month. Saturday, June 11th, West Bay and Estero for those in the 239 or even Charlotte County. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks to Twin Peaks Budweiser, Southwest Florida Golf Carts, flgolfcarts.com for helping us throw this little tournament together. Hope to make it out in the Charlotte County in midsummer. Talking Lake City right before or early stages of football season. We'll see if we can get it done. Would like to. Like to thank everybody for helping us get this network off the ground. We haven't been out and about since before the pandemic. We're actually pretty fond of our audience and thankful.
I've barely left my neighborhood.
At least, I'll tell you, the golf cart's going to have to put some miles on it.
To Lake City?
We start doing this.
Where are those charging stations?
FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Oh, by the way, if you want to sign up for the golf tournament, we feed you. We give you a nice shirt. It'll be a good time. We'll have scantily clad women passing out free booze.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a couple of meetings yesterday. Apparently, the plan's coming together. So it'll be a good time had by all.
Hopefully the wife's turned the show off by now.
Right. Well, I mean, she's not nearly as big a sports fan as she used to be. So, we didn't do a college gymnastics segment, so I think she's got the show off.
She's ready in case we need her. She's told me.
We don't have to call up anyone with the SEC network or NCAA.com.
Nope. She's ready.
Your wife feels as if she's enough of an expert. We can do this.
I think that's the number one bucket list item for her now, is either the SEC gymnastics or the NCAA gymnastics.
Oh, I thought it was to be a guest on the show.
Third.
Distant. You can do that, by the way. I mean, that'd be an easy bucket item list across all. First off, the NCAA championships oftentimes are in the Southeast. And goodness knows the SEC championship is oftentimes in Florida or Georgia.
Yeah, it's been in Birmingham the last couple of years. Trust me, I keep my eye on it.
There you go.
Trying to find something close enough to say, here you go. Take the daughter and go away for the weekend.
Right. We were just talking in our poll question. We just came up with it. Obviously, there's 8 division winners in the NFL. We think there are 4 that are heavily favored. Green Bay, Tampa Bay in the NFC, and Kansas City and Buffalo in the AFC. And if you think, well, I don't know about Kansas City with the division, listen, until somebody beats them. I mean, you got to say it's the Chiefs division until proven otherwise. I mean, they've hosted 4 straight AFC championship games. I mean, it's their division until somebody rips it away. So we put the other 4 division winners up there. Tennessee, Cincinnati in the AFC, Dallas and the Rams in the NFC, and just said, hey, which one of these 4 are you most convinced will not win the division next year? That's our poll question.
Yeah, I think there's more than 1 on here, by the way. I think there could be upwards of 3.
That won't repeat.
Right. I don't think Cincinnati wins their division next year.
I will say, though, you then have to, to me, it's easy. I can cross out Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh finishes last. I really do. But
it's either going to be Pittsburgh or Cleveland because I have no idea what the Watson suspension is. And you do have to put that into consideration when you're looking at that division. If they end up suspending him for half the year, Pittsburgh, for whatever reason, can figure out a way to go 8-9, 9-8 every damn year.
For the record, I think it'll be a minimum 6 that he gets.
I don't disagree with you. So I just think you have to, when you're looking at the division, you have to remember that Deshaun Watson's going to be suspended.
Right.
When you're thinking of last place. But I think the Ravens will win that division.
Well, they were 8-3 till Lamar got hurt. They were the 1 seed when Lamar got hurt.
And I think the Cowboys are vulnerable, and I think Tennessee's vulnerable. I'll pick Cincinnati as my choice because I'm convinced they're not going to win the division.
Can I go the other way for a second? Gut
Sure.
feeling. I mean, 98% of the personnel moves have been made. There will be a couple of big cuts, June 1st designations and what have you, and a couple of names who could still end up in certain places in which you go, oh, wow, that's a nice upgrade. And who knows what happens with Garoppolo and Mayfield. But let's face it, most of the moves have been done. Who's on the clock? When you look at the league right now, because let's face it, the really bad teams from a year ago, I mean, we think Jacksonville's got to be at least a couple of games better just for not having Urban, right?
Not having Urban another year. Trevor, I think, and they were only a game behind Houston last year.
We'll say Houston has seemingly cleaned up the grease fire. I don't know how good they can get in 2022, but I don't think of the Texans as a disaster the way a year ago I thought they were a disaster. And it's not the hardest division in the world. I mean, you look at it and you think, they could steal a couple division games here.
My initial thought might be your New York Football Giants.
Yeah, it's so funny. That's why I brought it up. A team that I think, by the way, is really going to have a bad year, the Chicago Bears. I think the Giants and the Bears, two longtime traditional, not powers, but just traditional teams who get a lot of primetime games just because of the cities that they play in. I think it's going to be a bad year for both.
I think Washington got better. I think Philadelphia got better. I don't think Dallas got much worse, if anything. I don't know if the Giants got much better.
Don't see how you could say they have. I mean, the 2 first-round picks will be nice, but they'll be rookies.
I think the Jets, even with their great drafting, like you just said, they're all rookies.
I will say, though, the Jets, they drafted 4 plug-and-play guys.
I know. They're still the Jets.
I got you. But I don't think of them as a serious threat to be on the clock.
Well, I think they've got a chance because I think their division's really good. I think they could go 0-6 in their division.
Ooh.
And when you can go 0-6 in the division, you have to be considered to go on the clock, David, don't you think?
Well, Felipe's a Doll fan. There are many Doll fans out there. If I tell you right now, I will give you the same division record as what you had a year ago. Swept the Patriots, swept the Jets, got swept by the Bills. Would you take it?
If it means making the playoffs.
No.
4-2 in the division.
All I'm saying, and how it broke down. You sweep the Patriots and the Jets, you get swept by the Bills. 4-2 in the division. If you're a Doll fan, do you take that?
No, I want to beat the Bills.
I would take it.
I'd take it right now.
I would take it if I was the Dolphins.
Because 4-2 in the division should be enough to get you to 10.
Well, to me, it should get you into second place. The fact that you swept the Patriots and still finished behind them last year, congratulations, that's hard to do. So I would take it, Felipe. I understand where you wouldn't. I just think realistically to do better than 4-2, that's asking a lot. In fact, we may have to go some the last time the Dolphins had a division record that was better than 67%.
So who do you have on the clock? David taking a little bit of a stretch when he says the Chicago Bears, and you've been on that for a while, thinking that roster is not good enough to finish third in that division this year, that Detroit will be better than the Bears. And once Detroit's better than someone, you have to consider that team to be on the clock.
Well, if they had kept their first-round pick in this year's draft, they would have drafted 7th. I don't see them as being, they're going to lose their 3 best players off of last year's team. They've already lost 2. They traded Mack. They lost the wide receiver in free agency. They're going to get rid of the other defensive end. You're the 7th worst team in the league. You're going to lose your 3 best players. Tell me how you get better. They didn't sign anybody. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial
and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Much we are interested in, we can have an abstract off-season NFL discussion. In which, why in the world would we care if the Bears are on the clock?
Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah, KW, that's my concern about the Bears, is not that they may suck this year and have great draft picks next year. I'm with you. I think they need it. The problem is, I think they will have spent 2 years absolutely torpedoing Fields. I mean, they wouldn't let him work with the ones in training camp last year. He was totally ill-equipped to play when he played, and the product he had to play with sucked. And he was a turnover machine, by the way, which people don't want to address. I mean, an absolute turnover machine when he played. He was exciting at times, but he was a mess. Well, look at him this year. New system. He's got no players. Half his offensive line is going to be all the 5th and 6th rounders they drafted. He's got David Montgomery and not much else. I mean, I don't play fantasy football. You all do. Mark, you going to draft a Bear next year?
David, the league that I play in where you get every player once, I don't know if I'll have a Bear in that lineup. I don't know if I'll play a Bear all season long.
Right.
I'll pick on the Bears. I'll be playing guys when they're playing the Bears.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the Giants are going to be terrible, but there's actually a couple of guys I might play in a fantasy draft, maybe. And they spend the first 4 rounds of their draft basically drafting a secondary.
The Bears didn't even average 20 points a game last year.
Oh, I know.
They scored 311 points last year.
They let their number 1 receiver walk. They traded Khalil Mack. Quinn's not going to be there. It's their 3 best players. Off the 7th worst team in the league. And it's okay to suck. But the whole deal, when you made the deal to draft Fields, the whole organization needed to be focused in on developing Justin Fields.
Do you know how bad Jacksonville and the Giants were last year? You know the Giants averaged 15.2 points a game?
Mark, the last 6 games of the year when Daniel Jones got hurt, I think they averaged like 11 points a game.
That's all right. The Jags didn't even average 15 points a game for the year. You know how hard that is to do in today's NFL? Wow.
Well, RCB, I'll say this. Since they got 3 owner issues to deal with, I think it gives them the cover to actually do something to some of them, if not all of them. They could also just sweep it all under the rug like they normally do, but I think there's safety in numbers if you're the NFL. You know, it's gaining momentum. The computer behind the plate.
Gee, I don't know why. Managers every night are losing their shit on. The Cora got ejected last night.
I don't blame Toronto the other night. I mean, come on. That guy did not hit Donaldson on purpose, for goodness sakes. A fastball got away. It was a cold night. They were talking even earlier in the game, pitchers having trouble gripping the ball.
Come back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
– 22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Thanks so much for being with us. For those of you in the 239 or in Charlotte County as well, you want to play in our June 11th golf tournament at West Bay, we'd love to have you. That's in Estero. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com and sign up. Raise some money for charity. It'll be a good time. It's in a shade over 4 weeks. Coming up top of the hour, Eduardo Encina. He covers the Lightning for the Tampa Bay Times. This officially qualifies as a big one, Mark. When you're facing elimination, it's a big game. Eduardo to join us at the top of the hour. Bobby Burack to talk about Brady's monster deal and the madness that has ensued in the NFL broadcast booth. I mean, what's been crazier over the last 3 months, the quarterback carousel or the network announcing carousel?
Network announcing carousel. Because it involved a quarterback.
A couple of them.
A current one, though.
Right. I don't think it's the worst idea in the world. I mean, it's what we used to do. 70s, 80s. It was not uncommon. If you go back, you and I are, baseball fans. We watched World Series in the late 70s and into the mid 80s in which both Tom Seaver and Jim Palmer called World Series for networks while still active pitchers.
Yeah, and Jim Palmer had far more clothes on than most of the time that we'd seen him on television at that point.
But boom.
For those that don't know, he was doing the jockey ads.
I think Joe Morgan started his broadcasting career very late in his playing career. Could be wrong about that. But Tim McCarver, I think, began dabbling in broadcasting while still a part-time backup catcher with the Phillies. I mean, it was not crazy. We mentioned Theismann did a Super Bowl while the starting quarterback for the then Redskins.
I know people think Tom Brady's great at everything, so obviously he's going to be great at this. We'll see. The pressure, and it's a different kind of pressure. I'm not trying to compare the pressure of playing in the Super Bowl, but the pressure, maybe not even on Tom Brady, but on Fox, if they put him in the booth for the first time and it's a Super Bowl and it goes badly, or it just goes and it's an uneventful broadcast in the Super Bowl, the most watched television event of the year.
Right. 100 million, give or take.
You claimed yesterday that you don't think Brady will see the end of his 10-year deal.
I don't. I mean, it's every weekend for 22 weekends. When you have the lifestyle that he has, do you really want to work 22 consecutive weekends? Also, he's going to have to work every Thanksgiving and Christmas. He'll work at least 5 out of every 7 Christmases. The only time he won't work at Christmas is when the games fall on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday. But, I mean, I'm just guessing that, put it this way, I think for him to do all 10, he's going to have a reliever. He's going to have to be able to call Greg Olson about 4 times a year and go, Greg, I need you to do this week. This just doesn't work for me. And Greg and Fox are going to have to be okay with it. Now, Fox caters to their stars. They're based in LA. They believe in stars. They're all in. I mean, take a look at their NFL pregame show. Every member's in the Hall of Fame.
Here's the thing that I wonder, and I don't know. And David, stop me at any point if I'm off base here. While you've worked now with Joe and Troy for a while, the lucky time I got to go with you guys, Joe and Troy come in late, they leave early, if you know what I mean. Your team, if you will, is everybody not named Joe and Troy? Is that fair to say?
Well, because of Thursday night football, that's how it developed. My understanding is before Thursday night football, everybody was in town damn near 48 hours before a game. And you had production meetings, and then you also had meetings with the opposing teams and coaches. So you throw in Thursday night football, 2 games a week for most of the season. That became a bit grueling on everybody. And then you had the pandemic, in which they were encouraging you not to have meetings.
Right.
So the last few years have been different than how it normally goes.
But and that's where, what the player always says he misses is the room.
Correct.
And this locker room, if you will, the guys in it, the stars don't really hang with as much, if you know what I mean. That's all I was getting at, is that he's going to be flying in day up, flying out day. He's not hanging with his spotters and the production guys.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. It will be interesting. The whole team thing, you've been a part of a team in a room and the whole deal, will that actually be one of the more appealing parts of the job?
Because we already know the stories about Brady. He knows everybody that walks into training camp. He gets a point to meet them. And those are the parts of the team thing that if he does that, then maybe he'll enjoy this team as well. We'll see.
The last time we had Aikman on the show, we asked him about Brady. And we asked him, hey, you were a pretty good quarterback in your day. And I'm sure you watch Tom throw the ball and you think to yourself, well, hell, I threw the ball like that. I was pretty good. I mean, a lot of people have been pretty good at throwing the ball, so to speak, relatively. But what is it that separates him from even someone like you, who's a Hall of Famer who won 3 Super Bowls? And he said he's the best leader I've ever seen. And he talked about how difficult it is to connect with everyone in the room, to be the leader of a team, and how exhausting it is, and how you really have to genuinely care for everyone and get to know them. Spend a little bit of time with everybody on a regular basis. You have to be the leader and one of the guys all at the same time.
And what's fascinating to me is that the leader of the broadcast is the play-by-play guy.
Right.
And he was always the highest paid member of the team. Well, that dynamic's changed this year, David. Now the color analyst is the most wealthy man in the booth. And that was not, up until Romo got paid, that was not the case in the booth.
Except for Madden, but you're right. In most booths, the play-by-play guy made more. Madden was the exception. Yeah, now it's a different world. I mean, Tom's going to make 5 times what Burkhart makes. Maybe 6.
I should hope so.
Well, I'm just saying.
Not Burkhart's got a really good agent.
Well, he's done pretty well. He was selling cars 10 years ago. He's moved up the ladder pretty quickly. But Bobby Burack in an hour, little less. And needless to say, Brady will come up. Listen, we can talk any kind of football. I mean, we did a couple segments the other day about ACC and scheduling and how they're going to do it differently and all that. And we've talked a lot of NBA and NHL playoffs. If I said to you right now, hey, I want to talk some baseball.
I'd probably go get a coffee.
No. Honestly, what want to talk some baseball.
Ohtani, interest. I mean, we did a little bit of that earlier this week,
right?
Because it's
amazing,
mind-boggling.
It's just amazing
what he's doing.
Last night, by the way, 6 innings, 1 run, also had a hit. Now, McClanahan was every bit as equal. In fact, it was a little bit better for the Rays. He threw 7 shutout innings. He's developing into
really nice starter.
Not just a number one starter in that rotation because somebody has to be the one. I mean, he's actually developing into a number one starter. Rays 1-10, by the way, 4-2. But this is, we're sitting down, we're working for Major League Baseball and we're trying to, listen, we got to get on sports radio more. We got to get them talking about us. You and I are big sports fans. We like baseball. We pay attention every night, even with the playoffs going on. It is remarkable how we can have an abstract discussion about scheduling. We can talk about how bad the Giants and Bears are going to be while being a part of the Florida Sports Network. And no one's given us a hard time for what we're talking about. If I wanted to do 8 minutes on baseball right now, what could we talk about that would interest the masses?
Well, I don't know if there's anything. I'm going through my Score app and just trying to see how many stories down I had to go before I got to a baseball story. And it was the sixth story, the Yelich cycle last night.
Okay.
And they're just giving you highlights on this. And then you go down another 5 stories. And I've got Yankees sweep Blue Jays for best 30-game start since 2003. I get if we're doing sports talk radio anywhere in the Northeast, we would do a lot more baseball.
Well, and they are the Yankees. They're the biggest team in the sport. They are 22-8. I mean, that's over 70%. They're off to a great start. Judge is a monster right now. He'd be the MVP if we voted 30 games in.
And if they were to have to pay him right now, my goodness, what they would have to pay him.
It was more than what they were willing to. That is, quick sidebar, that's going to be a hysterical negotiation. Let's just say he can stay healthy and he puts this 40-homer, 110 RBI season up on the board. They win the division. They go on a deep playoff run, the whole deal.
What was it that they offered him that he turned down? It was like 26 a year, but was it 8 years?
I thought it was more than that.
More money or more years?
More. I thought it was more money than that.
But it was 8 years, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think he wants like Mookie Betts. That's what I think. And they're like,
maybe
no,
it was
no,
8 for 240. Maybe it was 30 a year for 8.
I mean, but if he puts this up on the board, I mean, come on. You can't afford to lose him. I mean, the guy across town's worth $15 billion. I mean, he does, and he has said, Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, has said, I really never want to get into a bidding war with the Yankees over a player. He goes, I don't. I almost wish, there's a guy we're really interested that we're willing to pay top dollar for. They're not willing to pay it for him. Then there's another guy that they're willing to pay top dollar for, and he's just doesn't fit us. We got a guy at that position, something like that. He said, I really do not want to have to break out the wallet in a battle for an errant.
I think philosophically, the only baseball question we can really get into is with a guy like Judge, how many years would you pay him for? But I don't think the day-to-day baseball stuff does enough this time of year to get anyone interested. Now, in individual markets, absolutely it does. And will we talk a little more Rays and Marlins as the summer goes on? Probably. Marlins may have to do something to help themselves there.
The Yankees, by the way, offered him, and they're going to arbitration with Judge. Judge asked for 21. The Yankees offered 17. Like, Judge is working right now. He does not know what his wage is. I mean, he's the last player that's going to go to arbitration. Usually they do this before the season, but because of the lockout, what have you, they didn't attend to any of this. So players are going, I mean, 2 guys lost this week, a Brave and a Cardinal, I think, both went to arbitration, lost. The teams won. Judge and the Yankees are going to arbitration. The Yankees offered Judge $17 million for this year and $30.5 million a year for 7 years thereafter. So it came to like 8 years, 230 or so million. And Judge, who just turned 30, said, I'm good. We'll play this out. By the way, I'm not negotiating during the season, just so you know.
Would you sign him for more than 7 years?
Here's why I would. I'm the Yankees. I print money. It really is, at the end of the day, this monopoly money. And I can't lose them. I just can't. Now, I would see whether or not anybody else is even going to get in the game. Like, I think the rest of the sport may do what Steve Cohen of the Mets has said he's going to do. He's like, I'm not even going to get involved with them because at the end of the day, they're just going to pay him. So I'm wasting my time. The only thing I'm doing is driving his price up. That'll honk them off. They can steal one of my players one day. I don't want to get involved. But there are other teams, the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox. There are other teams that could financially make a run at him and say, listen, we'll pay you right now. What you ask the Yankees for, we'll give you. You can't leave the room, though. I'm just saying, I will give it to you right here, but you got to take it. You know, this is Baltimore with Art Modell. You get off the plane, the deal's off. We're giving you everything you want. Sign it or walk.
Well, and I think Judge is apt to do that, by the way. I don't think Judge is dying to play the rest of his career with the Yankees. I think he's honked off at the Yankees and right now would leave if the right offer was there.
I don't disagree with you, but it is funny to be offered $230 million fully guaranteed and be, quote, honked off. I think you're right. Got to admit, it's all funny, though.
It's hysterical.
Miller and Moulton. Lightning in a must-win. Next.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month.
The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Right. Do you see arbitration picks one. They'll either pick the Yankees figure of 17 or judges figure of 21.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Final hour of Miller and Moulton, at least in Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. Halfway home for those of you in the 239. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. The Florida Sports Network. Sign up for our golf tournament. It's the first time we've been out and about in 3 years. Got to go back. late spring of 2019. We did a live draft show. We had a golf tournament, and the pandemic and a few other things have derailed many a plan. So we're going to head out and about here in the late spring and into the summer and try to hit as many of our markets as possible. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com and sign up for our June 11th golf tournament at West Bay Golf Club in Estero. Eduardo Encina covers the Lightning for the Tampa Bay Times. His Twitter handle's outstanding, Mark. You know that's important to me. Eddie in the Yard.
Yep, that's a big deal to
Eddie in
you.
the Yard is how you follow Eduardo, and he's kind enough to join us here on Miller and Moulton. Eduardo, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me this morning. Appreciate it.
Well, it is our pleasure. All right, an elimination game. You know, they faced one last year in the conference finals, game 7. But your thoughts, does this feel any different than the elimination game from a year ago?
Yeah, I think it does a little bit. I think obviously, first round, last year's was a game 7. They'll have to win tonight just to force a game 7. And I just think that, at that point last year, in the Final Four round against the Islanders, this team had I could already kind of tell that they had a little bit of a groove going in the postseason. I think that this year we've seen them just kind of be a little bit up and down. It's been a really strange series, to be honest with you. Like, so many penalties, not very much 5-on-5 play, and I think the team just kind of exchanging wins here, and with the exception of the last game, a lot of them were kind of lopsided games overall. So a lot of scoring, like I said, a lot of penalties. So I think it's a little bit different. I think that the Lightning right now are just kind of trying to figure out a way to get through this round. Obviously, the first round's so big, and you can kind of propel teams. It's a bigger thing. So if they can survive the Leafs, and like you said, they're up against it right now, but I think they'll be in pretty good shape.
I don't think they have to go much farther than their captain, Eduardo. I mean, Steven Stamkos said after the game, we played a good 15 minutes, and then the rest of the game didn't. You have to play 60 minutes. His penalty, the high sticking penalty, really a big part of what Toronto got going offensively. I think the captain's going to lead them tonight. I don't know about you, but it seems like with the way Stamkos responded after the game, I would expect him to have a huge night tonight, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, he's the big voice in the room, and they have a lot of leaders. It's a very veteran group there. A lot of guys speak up, but I know that Steven is kind of the voice of that team, and he's definitely one thing that was a big question coming into this year was were they going to be able to win 3 Stanley Cups? And a big thing of that is complacency. It's a big reason why teams don't do it. It's why it's so hard to do. And I think when you look at Steven Stamkos and the season he's had, he doesn't have to prove anything to anyone anymore. He's a Hall of Famer. But, he came through at age 32 and had, his first 100-point season. So, he's a guy who is never, quite satisfied, and it kind of runs through the room, that kind of, attitude. So this team is not going away until you tell them that they're done, basically. And I think that they do flourish in moments where, they're facing adversity. They have only won game 7, but there's been a lot of times over the past couple years, dating back to that early exit in the first round a couple years ago, that where they really battled back. And I don't expect anything else, especially on home ice, and especially given the way that they are able to just kind of rebound from losses so well and make the adjustments that they need to make in the postseason.
Eduardo Encina covers the Lightning for the Tampa Bay Times. You can follow him on Twitter at Eddie in the Yard. Eddie in the Yard. Eduardo Encina joining us here on Miller and Moulton. Is there something different about this team than the last 2? Because it just seems as if their A game's not quite as good, and they can't stay locked in quite as long as the last 2 teams could. Is that a fair observation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, going into the year, the big question was how they were going to replace that third line. They lost all 3 guys, and there was a big part of their identity. That was kind of a team that they were kind of a glue line that held the team together. And they've kind of struggled to kind of find that fix. They've kind of tried to find qualities across all 4 lines, but they really haven't replaced it. you're right. I mean, I think that all year long they've been trying to fight for that 60-minute game, and it really hasn't, come to them as easily as it did for maybe the past two teams. But like you said earlier, Stamkos put it really well. They played a great opening 15 minutes, and then after that, they kind of let it slip away. And I think the big thing that's probably different about this team is just, and urgency is a word you want to use. I don't know if it's really that, but it's just the sense that, when times get tough, in the past, they've just found a way and they've been able to, keep the foot on the gas pedal. Whereas this team kind of just lets teams back into it. And, as you know, in the postseason, but that's, if any little mistake, any little, detail that goes, any lack of attention to detail can really be a difference in a game. And, when you look back at game 5, just one turnover in the neutral zone that ends up at 2-on-1 with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner with the puck on their sticks, and most times they're going to put the puck in the back of the net in that situation. So, but yeah, I think it has been different. I think anyone in that room would tell you that they've struggled to put together a full 60 minutes of hockey, and now going into Game 6, they are that margin of error is really kind of gone. They're going to have to play as good a game as they can put together, and to complete a game to get this to Game 7.
Take goaltending out. Give me an area give me a situation where you think that the Lightning are significantly better than the Leafs, because I think we all agree that they've got the best goaltender in the world. After that, where is the Lightning's biggest advantage in your estimation?
I think the big thing is just the confidence. You know what I mean? Like, these guys have never, no matter what, they've never doubted themselves at any means. And, their attitude is more of a thing that, when they lose, it's more what they did wrong instead of anyone beating them. And I think that's been the course of the series. We heard John Cooper talk about it, that maybe they gave a couple games away. Game 1, Game 5 kind of come to mind when you think about that. And, when you talk about the Leafs, they're kind of a team that's trying to get over the hump right now. No playoff wins in 2004. I think 7 elimination opportunities that they've had, that core group has had, that they've lost in a row. So they are trying to find a way to win the big game. The Lightning have done it. So I think that's kind of the big thing. It doesn't show up on the score sheet. It doesn't show up in stats or anything like that. But that is, I think, the biggest difference between the Lightning and the Leafs right now. Now, having said that, the Leafs go out and win tonight, like, everything changes for them. And things change for the Lightning too. But I think going into Game 6, I think that's just the biggest difference. One team has every opportunity, every reason to believe in itself, and the other one, is still kind of searching for that.
I know it's tough to get this information this time of year out of teams, but health-wise, Lightning okay by Stanley Cup playoff standings heading into Game 6 tonight?
Yeah, I think physically they tried to rest their guys going in. Andrei Vasilevsky is always going to be the guy you kind of look at just because of the number of games that he's played over the course of the past 3 years. No one's played that many games because he's played in every playoff game the past 2 seasons. So when you look at him right now, like, there's probably a few goals that probably wouldn't have gotten by him maybe the past couple postseasons. But you obviously can't put anything on him because he's, like you guys said, he's the best in the world. I've actually been surprised with Braden Point's play. He's probably been one of the best players on the ice in the whole series. And I think he's been kind of dealing with something physically. You saw him hold his shoulder a couple times on the bench towards the end of the last season. He missed a couple games in the end of the regular season. So a couple guys who, those are the kind of guys that stand out to me. But at this point of the year, everyone obviously plays through everything. The big thing about last year's team was the sacrifices they made to get to win a Stanley Cup. Guys taking block shots. Alex Killorn with a rod with his leg after breaking it, trying to get back on the ice for the final if they needed him. So in hockey, like, it is amazing to see the sacrifice and the physical toll that these guys take just to get there, and especially with a team like the Lightning that knows what it takes to get there. They're willing in any form to just try to go surge through that. And so physically, those are 2 kind of things that I kind of look at. But right now, like, first round of the playoffs, I think that most guys aren't even really thinking about any kind of physical issues.
Eduardo, thanks for making time for us. Enjoy Game 6 tonight, and hope you're packing your bags and heading north to the border for the weekend.
Definitely. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Eduardo Encina covers the Lightning for the Tampa Bay Times. Follow him on Twitter at Eddie in the Yard. Eddie in the Yard.
You really want a new Twitter handle, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
tried? It's not that hard to do.
I keep falling back on, you've had it this long, and
Yeah. How do you find David Moulton on Twitter? The David Moulton.
right. I know. Just sounds obnoxious. That's all. And I'd like to think I'm a little less obnoxious than I used to be. That could be a mistake on my part. I could be actually more obnoxious than I used to be. I'm trying to be less.
Obnoxious would be David Moulton. Okay.
Well, I've just always been taken aback by when Ohio State said, no, we are the Ohio State University. It's like, come on, being Ohio State University is enough. I mean, you're a BFD. We all know it. You don't have to go the Muffy.
What if you change it
That's
to-
all. I just feel as if it's got that connotation to it. I'm uncomfortable with that.
What about Mavid Dalton?
I'd like to think, I'm a man of the people. You know me and the peeps.
We do. You and the peeps are big.
Right. Especially around Easter. But,
God, we've got some of those things in our cupboard.
do you really?
My wife loves them.
Oh, get rid of them, for goodness sakes.
Really?
Yeah, look right at her and say, I'll make you a trade. You can watch gymnastics. I get to throw out a dozen peeps. That's how you do it. You watch 3 gymnastics meets, the cupboard's clear.
You mean I've got to watch the gymnastics?
Well, you're going to have to watch them anyway.
Not really. Not really.
Oh, really?
No. I don't have to watch. She can watch them whenever and wherever she wants.
Look at that. Miller and Moulton.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Indoctrinated by their.
And there's always going to be some of that, just the same way that racism spewed to children, but they don't care.
No. Thank God. Thank God.
Well, it's one that we've gotten better at.
Right. course, the other question is, we're not quite sure what that generation does care about.
Oh, then there's that.
You know what, Mark? Our parents' generation and our generation have done a pretty good job of effing everything up, so I don't know how we get to complain. Never understood rhythmic gymnastics, K-Web. Never understood. I would never buy the sweatshirt then with the, come on. It's ridiculous.
I was going to give you a Twitter name suggestion, but my mic wasn't on program.
What do you got?
I was like, what about Mavid Dalton?
See what he did there?
I'm not listening to him.
I was going to give him a Twitter name suggestion, but my mic wasn't on program. I said Mavid Dalton.
Another reason why I've thought I need to change it is that most people don't know how to spell Moulton. So I just thought maybe if I took my name out of the equation and just came up with something like Eddie in the Yard, you know.
Eddie in the
Davey
Yard.
by the sea.
Davey by the sea.
Davy Jones Locker.
What an FU moment that is. That's great. How about don't call me?
And
don't call me Dave. How about, damn it? What about that?
What about that?
Okay.
Is it available?
David Moulton. Okay. On Twitter, don't call me Dave.
Have people called you Dave and had you?
I hate Dave. I really do.
Dave.
Here's the part. I don't mind if, somebody meets you for the first time and, they call you Dave, because most people call people Mike Dave instead of Michael and David. I get all that. But when they ask you, how do you prefer to be called? And I say David, and they go, okay, Dave. That's when you want to punch someone in the mouth.
You've got to, if you Google "Don't Call Me Dave" on Twitter, it's what you need to send out as a GIF. There's a David Bowie. David Bowie says, and he said, "You like weird stuff, don't you, Dave?" And I smacked him because no one calls me Dave. I'm going to start using this for our show. That's going out tomorrow morning with the show. Oh my God. Poster every weekend. I say to myself, Dave, you need to stop drinking so much beer. Luckily, I'm not called Dave.
Found your new favorite site here.
Oh, man, I got great stuff for the show. This is awesome.
David Ton.
Now that's not a bad Twitter handle. Don't call me Dave.
Right.
Because you do, I don't get asked to do, maybe with the Florida Sports Network, there might be some small podunk station that's going to ask me to come on, but I don't do interviews.
Right.
You do a handful.
Yeah, not many, but yeah.
But if that's funny.
Yeah, there you go. Don't call me
because
Dave.
it right there reminds both hosts or the host. Oh, you got to call this guy Dave.
Yeah.
Now, if I were doing it, I'd just call you Dave the whole time.
Pat calls me Dave. He does occasionally. The only reason Pat will call me David is he will think about it, and he knows my mother, who loves him, and he knows that. Okay, so he tries to call me David out of deference to my mother, but Pat calls me Dave.
I wear a tarp.
I am a tarp.
I am a tarp.
I am a tarp.
Size tarp would be another one.
David Ton.
He keeps going back.
Call me
back to
Dave.
this. It's
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Bobby Burack, Outkick, one of the preeminent sports media reporters in the country. He'll join us in 20 minutes' time. I think I finally came up with a decent Twitter handle.
Well, I think you should try to change it before you put it out and someone steals it on you.
Oh, come on. Don't do that. Don't do that to me.
Give me your phone. Give me the phone. I should have changed it during the break. Just get yourself on Twitter.
All right.
Talk about the golf tournament for a second.
Before you do anything, I have a question. Do I lose all my followers the minute? You can just change my Twitter handle?
Correct.
And I keep everyone?
Correct.
Wow. All right. I'm excited. Oh, yeah, the golf tournament. June 11th. Our first one, first of a series. Hoping to do one like every month. We could just make our way up I-75. Southwest Florida be the first one. Charlotte County the second. Whether it's Tampa, St. Pete, whether it's Lake City the third. That's what we're hoping to do. But Saturday, June 11th, West Bay Golf Club. Thanks to Twin Peaks, Budweiser, Southwest Florida Golf Carts, flgolfcarts.com for making it happen. Did you change my handle?
No, I didn't, because I can't figure it out on your phone. I can do it on a PC. I'm not as good.
All right.
On the phone. We might have to bring in Felipe after he gets this nap in.
I know, man.
He's fallen asleep at least 3 times during the show.
He has. Fortunately, it's been in the middle of segments, so he's woken himself up before the end of said segments. Only 2 interviews today for him to fall asleep during. He made it through the first. We're hoping he can make it through Bobby Burack next.
2 days ago, I said that the NBA should bring in conference finals trophies, and they just did right now. Breaking news.
It's not breaking news. In order
They
for
just
it to be
announced
breaking news, it has to be news. Yes, they have a
just
Larry
announced
Bird
it.
trophy and a Magic Johnson trophy. Yep.
That's awesome.
And I knew when I saw it on Twitter, I knew that he would interrupt whatever conversation we were having.
Right.
To get in what he wanted to get in. This is basically the art of the producer of this show. I don't care what the hosts are talking about. Here's what I'm concerned with.
It's as if he listened to past episodes in years gone by, and he said, oh, this is how you produce this show. You chime in with what you want when you want, and preferably if it has nothing to do with what it is they're talking about.
Absolutely.
I think the Warriors are going to blow a 3-1 lead.
All right. If you keep going,
No, I'm
you're
done.
going to have to turn the mic off. We don't, by the way.
If we're going to give him a 24-second shot clock,
Right.
to have 24 seconds to do what he wants a couple
Right.
of times a show,
Mm-hmm.
we also have to give him a penalty box.
Well, but here's the deal. And then this is, Felipe, something for you to consider. If we give you a 24-second shot clock, that's the only time you get to talk.
Unless talk to.
Right.
So you can think about that over the weekend.
How about 1 shot clock an hour?
Probably not 4. I was thinking giving you 3.
3 possessions?
3 possessions.
And I was thinking 2.
So
I was thinking you might get a 7 o'clock and you might get a 9 o'clock. You might get a bonus hour and you might get a 7 o'clock hour.
Maybe a little 2 for 1?
That's 48 whole seconds that you're talking about,
I know.
David.
that's a lot.
It really is.
I mean, put it this way. We maybe listen to the first 24 seconds, and if it's pretty good, then we allow them to double down, play the 2 for 1 at the end of a half.
Give him an offensive rebound is what you're saying?
End of a quarter, right? Kind of like Bobby Portis last night down the stretch. So, all right, we'll take it under advisement, Felipe. Thanks for that late addition. Hey, more trophies.
Right, that people don't care about.
Right, exactly.
It's just I said it the other day.
No,
that they
you
should
did.
add it.
I will give you credit. You did say that. You thought that both conferences in the NBA should have a conference championship trophy. Hockey, both, East and West. It used to be, what?
The Prince of Wales trophy and the Campbell Cup. It's
Right.
still those trophies are given away.
And
Much like the AFC and NFC championship trophies are named
Correct.
after Lamar Hunt and Hallis.
But even though we're able to remember that for sports talk show, that nobody cares. But they do pose for a picture. And say, oh, this is nice. In hockey, that's a superstition. Nobody touches it.
Right.
You only touch the cup.
That is my favorite. They get the trophy. They leave it on the table. They all gather around the table, take a picture, and no one touches the trophy.
Right. And the poor guy who's responsible for the trophy, he's trying to hand it to the captain. And the captain looks at him and goes, dude, we ain't touching this. You're lucky we're posing for a picture around it.
I'll shake your hand, but I will not touch that damn trophy.
Right. And I'll shake your hand before you touch the trophy.
And this is something that every team follows?
Almost. Not all. So, some will look superstition in the eye and tell it to go blank itself. But for the most part.
I think Crosby did it the first time the Penguins went to the finals. Sid kind of looked around at everybody like, yeah, this is ridiculous. We accomplished something here. I want to celebrate it. You know, I've had to listen about Mario and Yager and all that stuff. No, we accomplished something. This is ours. We did it.
But when the conference finals come, after they have the handshake line and they give out the trophy, most of the time, whoever, and if it's Bettman or whoever it is presenting the trophy, they'll give the proverbial handshake to whoever's given it to them, and they will not touch the trophy.
I like that.
I was screamed at. When I worked for a minor league team, we brought the Stanley Cup in. My son happened to be 2, and our assistant coach cursed me out for 30 minutes because I let Jacob touch the Stanley Cup. Because he was convinced that if he was ever going to play hockey, he'd never win one because you don't touch it until you're allowed to lift it over your head.
Oh, what?
Didn't you put him in it?
We were putting candy in the top. Phil Pritchard, who is the keeper of the cup, and you'll start seeing him on commercials with one of the worst hairdos on the planet, and I love him for it.
And the white gloves.
The white gloves. So Phil Pritchard came to Southwest Florida. We did a couple of radio appearances with the cup, and we went back to the arena that I worked at. And Phil was going to take the cup back with him to his hotel room. And our VP of operations, Frank Lapsley, said, we've got a safe here. What if we just keep it in the safe? And he's like, you guys have a vault big enough? Yeah, so we took him down to the back room, opened the vault, put the Stanley Cup in there. Pritchard's excited. He now gets to go out to dinner, a little weight off of his shoulders and not having to care for the thing all night. He couldn't have been out of the building for 40 minutes before we had opened the safe back up, had the cup up in Frank's office, and had both of our children climbing the Stanley Cup with candy in the top of it so we could get photos of him.
Did you ever post those photos?
It was pre-social media, but I do have a picture in my office of Jacob reaching up into the top of the Stanley Cup to grab it because they weren't interested. They were 2 and 3.
Right.
They couldn't have cared less. How do you get the kid to pay attention to the cup? To get a photo, you throw some candy in there.
Whose cup was it?
Lord Stanley's.
No. What team?
Well, there's 3 of them for the record. The one team gets the cup. There's one that stays at the Hall of Fame, and there's one that's the Traveling Roadshow, if you will. So it was the Traveling Roadshow Cup. And I honestly don't remember if that was Tampa. I think that was Tampa's first cup.
So that would have been after 04?
Yeah.
So like during the lockout type deal? Although maybe we didn't even know at the time we were headed towards a lockout, but
It's not even close. Like, the Stanley Cup is the best trophy in sports.
yeah, and I think the second one is the Open Championship, the Claret Jug.
Really?
Yeah, I love the whole, the guy engraving it live. And when Van de Velde had the 3-shot lead on 18 and they're starting to begin the soft imprint into the Claret Jug, and then he makes triple, and we have to go to a playoff, and the guy has to stop, and then Van de Velde doesn't win, and so he has to put Paul Lawrie over Jean Van de Velde, and you look, and if you look closely, you can see evidence of Van de Velde.
The World Cup trophy's up there for me because of the T. Was it?
Yes.
The ball?
Yeah.
The big ball?
I was going to say that.
That would probably be next on my list.
That trophy means a lot, too.
Oh,
and they've tried with the Lombardi the way they tried that for a couple of years, the white glove and walking up. It looked a little hokey.
And yeah, I mean, you got the Ford dealer handing out the World Series trophy. So, how big of a deal can it be? David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles Or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
And I think Reading's up 3-1 on Newfoundland.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. I reached out to Brush and said, hey, what would the schedule be? And he goes, well, apparently Reading has major building issues. They like a monster truck show's taking over the arena for like 10 days.
Ooh.
And he thought he said something to me like after Monday or Tuesday of next week. He goes, they can't play games at home for a while. He goes, so I have no idea how we're going to do it if it's Reading. Now, if Reading plays again tonight and they could win it tonight, and I'm wondering if they would jam in the start, because Reading has home ice on the Blades.
Jam in 1 and 2.
Yeah. So, which would give Brush his weekend, though. You know, he'd be able to. 8 o'clock, full NFL schedule release. And KW, you know, part of being a Ranger fan and the whole, 1994, literally for that year, they were having to take off the bottom ring of the cup. And the bottom ring of the cup had the last Ranger Stanley Cup winner on it. So, the story goes, as they are handing the cup to the Rangers are not on the cup.
The Sixers are 3-point favorites tonight?
I thought it was 2. Unless it's moved. It was 2 4 hours ago.
Can we get one close game in this series? Like, please. Or game 3, was it? Was close?
Yeah, wasn't there a 5-point game in Philly?
Game 4?
Yeah, the one Butler scored 40, but they lost.
Yeah. But still, it felt lopsided. Because that was also the James Harden game. That was a classic duel, actually, when you think about it. Butler looks like a top 10 player in the NBA right now. James. Look at Amari. That's right. He works for the Nets. Amari was good. Then he got injured and he was never the same. We're coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
2 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. It's a pleasure to welcome Bobby Burack, who works for Outkick. He covers many things. We have him on to cover sports and media, but he also covers culture and politics. You can follow Bobby on Twitter at BurackBobby_. Burack, B-U-R-A-C-K, Bobby _. Bobby, it's David and Mark. We appreciate your time. How are you?
You know, I just realized again, Twitter won't let me change my handle to something normal. They keep making me hold in that underscore. That's going to change because I feel like that's really become an indictment on me. What do you guys think?
We may not talk about anything else. 2 segments ago, you would never know this. We did half a segment on my Twitter handle because we've been together 15 years and Twitter comes about and our producer at the time, who you know, John Cassio, says, you guys got to have Twitter handles. And so we have the most unoriginal Twitter handles imaginable. I'm the David Moulton. He is that Mark Miller.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I feel like my last name, first name, underscore is just as bad as like at Burack 123792.
Right. I don't disagree, by the way, but here's the problem, Bobby, that we're finding. Mark's okay with that Mark Miller. I'm not comfortable with the David Moulton. I think it's like the Ohio State University. I think it's obnoxious. But
Right.
But for years, I couldn't come up with anything else. Bobby, you've got to come up with something to change it to.
Well, I did try a couple of years ago to just do a simple at Bobby Burack, and Twitter sent me a thing back. If I change my username, I'll use my whatever you want to call it, that blue check verified stuff. So I don't want to miss out on that club. So as of right now, Twitter's the one holding me back.
Yeah, we're not in that club, so no worries.
Right.
No worries on this end. I will transition over to the media side of what you do. We could talk Twitter handles all day long because he's convinced he has to have something catchy. And I'm fine with that Mark Miller because I know a ton of other Mark Millers with that plain of a name. And someone would go, oh, no, that Mark Miller. And I think that's appropriate for me. We've always said it is the Tom Brady, by the way, because they never, it's never Tom, it's never Brady, it's Tom Brady. It is one word after all this time. $37 million? I mean, come on, it's monopoly money, but isn't that even outrageous?
Yes, I will say Fox is sort of publicly objecting to that report. They didn't exactly say what was wrong, but they did release a statement saying that the reporting on Brady's contract has been inaccurate. So I'm assuming they're disputing that number. But so we'll see exactly if they ever clarify what that number is. But I'll say this. That number at first hand seems outrageous. You're talking almost $40 million for a color commentator who probably doesn't change viewership by one viewer. However, we have seen over the past few years, particularly with the NFL, that the NFL does care who's in the booth because they look at the people on the call as representing the league. An ESPN stance, for a while, guys, they were getting really bad Monday Night Football games, and a lot of people thought it was because the NFL did not think that they were up to par in the booth. So they offered a lot of money to Tony Romo. Tony Romo rejected it. They offered a lot of money to Peyton Manning to be a traditional color commentator. He rejected it. Now he's doing that Manning cast. So it's no surprise that once Fox lost Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, that they were willing to, quote unquote, reset the market. But going after Tom Brady is something I don't think anybody saw coming. I mean, you talk to people around the industry, they said, well, maybe Fox goes after Sean Payton, or they try to convince Phillip Rivers, or maybe they try to get Drew Brees to leave NBC for Fox. Brady came out of nowhere, and because of his status and his legacy, I mean, you did have to offer him more money than Buck, Aikman, Romo, and those other broadcasters. So if it took $37 million, it was probably worth it.
It is remarkable. What do you think, by the way, of all the revolution that Peyton and Eli have started here, the Manning casts? They're doing it in baseball now with Michael Kay and Alex Rodriguez. Joe Buck is going to try to do a similar type broadcast concerning golf. He's starting next week with the PGA Championship. Your thought about the alternative Manning cast style broadcasts?
Yeah, the idea here is to reach a younger demographic that might not watch sports as frequently on linear television. Maybe they consume it more virally on social media. The numbers did say that Manning cast did reach that younger demo. And yet, ESPN seems to be going all in on that alternative broadcasting from baseball to golf. I expect to see that with other sports as well, whether it's a joint production with Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions or not. I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's an NBA version of that. And we'll see. I mean, I think other networks are also going to join in on it and try, particularly Amazon when they have Thursday Night Football, because they sort of were the ones that brought this idea to light when they, a couple of years ago, when they streamed Thursday Night Football non-exclusively when Fox still had the linear rights. They had some alternative broadcasts, so I would not be surprised if Amazon eventually adds something like that in addition to the Al Michaels, Herb Street traditional broadcast. And I like the idea because some games, guys, look, we probably all love football, but some games do get boring, and it is sort of cool to have two more radio host guys like talking back and forth, or former athletes, or people who are just untraditional. Now, I will say, I probably only watch the Manning cast maybe 2 times out of the year, because when it's a really good game, I find it distracting, especially with the guests. So I don't know if the hardcore football fans or baseball fans or golf fans are ever going to buy into that. But I do think the more casual, younger fans might find it a more entertaining alternative.
And I'm with you, but I watched a lot of them. My wife loved it, for the record. That's probably why we watched it. Now, I do this for a living. There's 2 TVs in my living room, so I can put the regular game on a big screen, so I don't have to deal with a lot of faces and distractions. But I think a lot of us, Thursday night football, all day Saturday college football, all day Sunday to Sunday night NFL football. By the time Monday comes, I know it's blasphemy to say, Bobby, but we can be a little footballed out. And I think this broadcast provides something for those of us that have had football fatigue by Monday.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's what it does so well, is that I think sometimes by Monday, I mean, I'm with you guys. Like, I watch football on Thursday and all day Saturday, all day Sunday. By Monday, you're just exhausted. You're tired of back and forth Or is that a catch? Is that not a catch? Are they out of bounds? Was that holding? Was that the right call? So freshening it up with Peyton Eli joking around, Eli Manning giving the middle finger to the camera, bringing on Tom Brady. I agree. For some people, it is a refreshing alternative. So yeah, I expect to see more of it across all sports and all networks.
He's Bobby Burack, Outkick. You can follow him on Twitter, at least for today, or at least for now. He may change it by noon. It's Burack Bobby _ Burack Burack Bobby _
Bobby, we talk about this all the time. With the money being thrown at these announcers, and it's monopoly money, and with what they pay for the rights, it's actually a small percentage. It's not that big of a deal. But what do you find nationally of how a broadcaster moves the needle? Because for most of us, like we just said, we watch Thursday, we watch Saturday, we watch Sunday. I don't give a damn who the announcers are. If I really don't like them, I can mute them. Yet they're paying them outrageous sums. Do the networks still think that these guys are that big of a draw?
The networks look at it like this. They know. So let's take ESPN, for example. They got Buck and Aikman, which I believe is the best broadcast duo in the industry. There could be some argument that it's Nance or Romo. I'd go Buck and Aikman. ESPN knows that they're not going to change viewership, that people are going to watch or not watch either way based on the game quality, the schedule, and all of that. But what the broadcasters do is that, again, they represent the league. And when ESPN and ABC got back into the Super Bowl rotation last year, they're going to have the Super Bowl in 2026. They kind of got a nudge from the NFL. It's like, okay, you guys got to get up to par in the broadcast. So the leagues care mightily about who's in the booth. And for these networks, even though viewership might not change per broadcaster, these networks despise when people are online talking about how Bush League. Remember a couple of years ago, like the Booger Mobile, that overshadowed the conversation online, and that just irked ESPN. They were embarrassed by it. So for the networks, when you're spending $1 billion to air a product, you want to make sure everything's as tied up as it can be. So the networks do absolutely care about who's in the booth because it represents them, the league, and their $1 billion investment. And it does seem like the league could punish you or reward you based on how good your booth is. If ESPN had kept Joe Tessitore and Booger McFarland as their broadcast booth, we don't know if NFL would have been as ambitious to get ABC back in that rotation. But for the average football fan, no, it doesn't matter at all whether it's Nance or Romo or you and I in the booth. They don't care. They just want to watch the football game. They might complain, but they're still watching.
Are you surprised at how influential Twitter is in the networks and their decision making? As somebody who is a very, pimple on the back of network television, I am amazed by how much they watch Twitter game by game and how influential it is that, however many of us are on it and what our demographic breakdown is, the influence that we have on network programming decisions. Are you surprised?
It's unbelievable. And I've written a couple columns sort of about this topic, that Twitter is the target audience for these sports networks. And it's so bizarre, guys. I mean, here's some numbers. About 8% of the population makes up all of Twitter. That the vast majority of Americans are either not on Twitter or not active or not in the Twitter conversation. So these networks that allow Twitter to dictate their programming and their decision-making is a small group of people, and the numbers say that a lot of them don't even watch TV. It's a younger, very politically, socially liberal group that does not represent the vast majority of the country. So it's just bad business. And Twitter's responsible, and the numbers back this up, of a lot of bad decision making. I mean, go down the list of some of ESPN's biggest blunders or other networks' biggest blunders. Take ESPN, for example. You see High Noon with Bomani and Pablo. Twitter said those guys are stars. The show drew the lowest ratings in ESPN history. They said this new morning show for $15 million a year of Mike Greenberg, Michelle Beadle, Jalen Rose was what America wanted. America didn't want it. That only lasted 3 months. So listening to Twitter, I get why they're doing it, right? Twitter's instant. It's live in real time. You get instant feedback. It's rewarding if you appease these people, but it's incredibly bad for business. Look at Hollywood. Some of the most praised movies on Twitter have the lowest box office. There's a meme that always goes around of what Rotten Tomatoes fans rank and what the critics say. So am I surprised? I am, because it's been so detrimental to the industry that there's no excuse to still do it, because it does not represent what America wants. And at the end of the day, you're programming for the largest audience possible, and Twitter is perhaps the smallest audience possible.
All right. When you change your Twitter handle, will you come back on and explain it?
I will, but again, Twitter is the one holding me back, right? So, like, if I lose the blue check, that could hurt me, guys. I don't know. Like, it's Twitter's fault, not mine. So if I do change my handle, just know that I won a battle with Twitter.
Well, a more receptive audience for you these days, probably.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks.
Bobby Burack, Outkick, culture, media, politics, sports. Follow him on Twitter for today, apparently, at Burack Bobby _ BURACK Bobby _ Miller and Moulton.
We've said it all along. And David and I are active on Twitter because of our jobs.
Right.
But we are blown away by how important Twitter is to the networks.
I think it has contributed large, besides groupthink, people who are the decision makers have, for whatever reason, given up the ability to think for themselves, which I don't understand, because that's how they got the job in the first place.
I got Twitter when I was 14. Imagine if you had Twitter when you were 14.
That's a dadgum good point.
And be scared of all the things you put out there, because they're all there for everyone to see. Miller and Moulton, we thank you so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network. Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program,
The Training Grove, with a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial and use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
It's right around now that I think about, bringing in a pullover or something. It gets cold at 9:00.
I've started wearing socks and shoes here because it's that cold in here.
In the words of Gucci Mane, burr, burr, burr.
Oh my gosh. A Twitch streamer almost burnt down her kitchen during a cooking stream. I'm watching it. This is painful. That's funny.
So Snoop Dogg has a Twitch account, a Twitch channel where he plays video games. And one time he forgot to end the live stream and left it running for 8 hours and came into his studio the next day and still live on Twitch with people in the comment section. And he walked in. He's like, the fuck? Am I still live? And he checked it out and was so confused. It's very funny.
Yeah. Bucks will host Chiefs week 4.
That's it.
Bucks are hosting the Chiefs week 4. Oh.
It's like October 2nd, I think.
Did you see that video of Tua throwing a Tyreek in practice yesterday?
Yes. That
It's
he
funny.
underthrew him.
It's funny. The Dolphins are getting crushed for releasing that.
Why?
I think because of what Mark pointed out, because
He
he
underthrew him.
him. Tyreek had to wait for the ball.
It wasn't a great arm. He's way underthrown. It's an intercepted pass in the game.
Fair point.
Fair point.
It's the right point. But, hey, look, it's your quarterback with our new wide receiver.
All right. Give me your thumb again. Oh, you're going to have to get into it. There it is. What do you want it to be?
Don't call me Dave.
I know it's going to be taken.
This username has been taken.
Boom. Unfortunate.
Please don't call me Dave.
Porfa. Por favor. No hablas, Dave.
David, not Dave, is also taken.
David, not Dave. We're coming back.
listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour on this Thursday, May 12th edition of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com, which is where you can go to, if you miss any part of the show, download the podcast on floridasportsnetwork.com. Also, you can sign up for our golf tournament Saturday, June 11th at West Bay Golf Club in Estero. Thanks to Twin Peaks, Budweiser, Southwest Florida Golf Carts, which is flgolfcarts.com. Thanks for making it happen. We'll be able to raise some money for a couple of charities. And everybody will get fed, play on a really nice track. Course is in great shape. And also get a Miller and Moulton Florida Sports Network shirt. We're debating whether it'll be a golf shirt or whether it'll be one of those, athletic shirts.
Boy, you said that with some oomph.
Well, trying to give the impression that I actually work out when we all know I don't.
That was a good, you know what? That impression's better than some of Felipe's impressions during the commercial break.
He's had a rough day, I will say. He's had a rough week with impressions. Okay, that part of his game is still developing. Felipe is like a prospect. Young prospect we've called up to the majors, and he's got certain strengths. He's major league ready in certain ways, and in other ways, still working on it.
Absolutely.
Needs to show up early, get some infield instruction, that sort of deal.
Yeah, my voice sounds a little bit like Doc Rivers today.
Well, it sounds like,
sounds like you went on a bender.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. Sounds like you're up till 3 a.m. drinking, smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
That's what you sound like.
Or at least you were in a bar where everyone was smoking.
Or I'm just a coach who notoriously blows 3-1 leads.
Look at this. Throwing haymakers. Is this a Doc Rivers reference?
Or my bad. His name's not Doc in Philly. It's Glenn.
That's a good line.
They call him Glenn.
Right. Because
he ain't no Doc.
Well, there should only be one Doc in Philly, though.
Right.
Exactly.
His last name's Jay. But the golf tournament come up in a month. Go to floridasportsnetwork.com. You can sign up right there, whether it's a single or a foursome. If you want some advertising in the tournament, then get right with us. And you can actually, you probably can text me and I'll take care of it during a commercial break.
Bada bing, bada boom. So hopefully we fill the sucker up, raise some money, and have a good time. Didn't want it to be Father's Day weekend, so that's why it's a little sooner than we had planned. So Tom Brady has really messed things up. Apparently the NFL damn near had their schedule done. And then Brady unretired. And let's face it, this is a television product. This league exists now to make money and to have it be on television, which is their biggest way to make money. This is a reality TV show. That's what we need to fully accept. That's what this is. A reality TV show where we keep score and we register wins, losses, and the occasional tie. And so they had this sucker done. And then he decides, I love Giselle and the kids, but only so much. They redid everything.
Kyle Koester runs the Big Lead site. I'm going to read you his tweet because he said this before you even told me the story, and I thought it was perhaps show-worthy because of all we make of this NFL schedule. And with what you said, I think this tweet is worth reading on air. The NFL is truly unbelievable, acting like it was some Herculean feat to put a schedule together. Your niece's soccer league does the same thing without all the backslapping, and it's posted on some impossible-to-use player portal. The NFL should act like it's been here before. I could not agree more with that statement. They make this out to be the toughest thing. Baseball has 162 games. That schedule that's hard to put together. They've got 17 of these. It ain't hard. It ain't, David.
It's not as hard as they make it seem. I will say, though, balancing the wants and the needs of the networks I mean, this is the only time they try to play nice, Mark. This is literally the only time the league pretends to care about their partners.
Here's the other thing. The arenas that they play in block Sundays. Hell, block off Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays. It's not like these arenas and these stadiums have a lot of other events. This is one of the most asinine things in the world that we credit the NFL for doing a great job for. It's putting together a schedule. Again, David, it's not that hard. And I don't care about their networks and Amazon. It's not that hard. Okay, we all know who the teams are. We all know. Guys, put your bids in for what you want for your Sunday night football, your Thursday night football, and your Monday night football. Go. It's as if they're curing cancer, for crying out loud. It's a schedule. It's 17 games, 32 teams.
You make a dadgum good point about there aren't many stadium conflicts. This isn't like trying to schedule the ECHL playoffs around college and high school graduations, a tractor show, figure skating. Right.
Hey, the Who wants to play. You know what? We can't do it on a Sunday. How about we give them a Friday? Sounds good to us.
I mean, Jera probably has the most stadium conflicts of it, maybe the whole rest of the league combined.
That's a great point.
Because he is just scheduling it like crazy. I mean,
does a great job.
Yeah. Nobody makes more from his arena, I think, in the NFL than Jerry.
LA has a problem. They have two teams in one stadium.
Right.
That's a bit of a problem.
Right.
New York has a little bit of a problem. Two teams, one stadium.
Right. So you know what you have to do. Either do the home road thing, or if you're going to have them both be home on the same week, well, then
Thursday, Monday seems to work best.
Right. Somebody needs to get a primetime game. Yep.
And I love the NFL schedule release. I do. But let's not make it something that it isn't.
Well, the other part of tonight that's so fascinating that so many people will be interested in it is we know the teams they're playing. That was released months ago, and we actually know where they're playing them. Like right now, you can go to the Bucks.com, the 17 opponents. There they are, 9 home, 8 away. Dates and times. That's what gets released tonight. Dates and times. 3 different networks for dates and times.
And Amazon Prime's doing a show as well, I believe.
Yeah, well.
I mean, and they should. They're in the football business now.
Is Herb Street on it? Because remember, he was too sick to work the draft.
Don't know. I just saw that. I just saw a
Right.
tweet that Amazon Prime has a show tonight at 8 as well to give you their games.
There have been planned leaks all week. Every major network gets an announcement day. This morning's announcement was NBC's turn. And speaking of Brady and the Bucks, they host Mahomes and the Chiefs, and the league has decided that game is worthy of Sunday Night Football Week 4, which I think is October 2nd or 3rd. As to when it is, I think it's the 2nd. So Week 4, Sunday Night Football, Chiefs at Bucks. They played there once before. A couple times, actually. Tom won the important one.
Matter of fact, he did.
But much like college football, certain teams you can put in prime time and the networks can only get so many. And so Tampa was probably only going to get 1 or 2 prime time games. I mean, every team gets 1. Now, Thursday Night Football helps that out. They can, damn near the whole league appears on Thursday Night Football once, so they count that. But I don't know how many more the Bucks would have gotten. I mean, who knows who the quarterback would have been? But if it wasn't Brady, I mean, how many Bucks primetime games we getting?
One on Thursday, one on Monday. Tops.
And now, whatever the maximum is,
right,
that's what they'll get.
$5 games will be in primetime. Guaranteed.
And it could be 6. Apparently, you can go as high as 6. I think because of Thursday Night Football, they've now increased it to 6. Because the Cowboys, I think, got 6 last year.
Be curious because they're not going to be good or not expected to be good. You know, the Steelers are a great primetime draw.
Sure. So are the Bears. Right.
And I don't see a lot of primetime games for the Bears, and I don't see a lot of primetime games for the Steelers.
I mean, you don't think Mitchell Trubisky and the Pittsburgh Steelers is a sexy, liner for the network voice guy to
be more sexy if the rookie gets the job?
Telling you, if I'm Trubisky, I'm not happy about
How
this.
could you be? You made the decision based on thinking I'm going to play more.
And now you've already put an end date pretty much on how long I'm going to play.
Unless Kenny Pickett's just awful.
Or you're winning a bunch of games and they can't bench you this year. But if you're kind of sort of in between, we've referenced it many times. The Giants were 5-4. Were technically the final wild card team in the NFC at the time in Eli's rookie year when they benched Kurt Warner. Said, sorry, Kurt, kid's ready to play. And even if he's not, he's got to play.
He's got to play. You might be better today, but he's got to play right now.
And they lost 6 straight games with Eli as starter. And Warner was looking at him like, we could have gone to the playoffs.
Don't know what to tell you. It's time for Eli to play.
Yeah.
We drafted him to play. We didn't draft him to sit on the bench.
Right. And Kurt looked at him like, I thought I could get the year, especially since we were winning. Trubisky's got to feel the same way, even though Pickett's not the first overall pick of the draft and all that. But come on now.
But the University of Pittsburgh quarterback playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, ownership's going to want to get him on the field as soon as is humanly possible.
Miller and Moulton. Lightning in a must-win. Many a game 6 tonight.
And I do think we do owe a bit of a congratulations to the NFL for pulling off this scheduled miracle. That is...
scheduled miracle?
It's a farce. But they make it into 3 primetime television shows. Congratulations, National Football League. You did it again.
That is a miracle.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
You
We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You seen this?
Packers have leaked their schedule. Oh, no, they haven't. Sorry. Dates and times for all 17 games. You don't have dates and times in here, dude. What do you... You have dates and times for 2 games. Tell me it. What's the absolute act?
All right. Why is your new sport love F1? I love everything leading up to the race. I love the first lap. After that, it's follow the leader. That's my problem with F1. Qualifying seems more eventful than the races. So it's all about the tires, and that's what you love?
Greeny needs to get those disco sticks on his eyes, man.
Yeah. So, Dratharian, you're saying the person who has Don't Call Me Dave has done nothing with the account? Gotcha. Got any texts? You can read that one about the Lightning and the 17 million over.
Come back.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. Final thoughts. 20 or so minutes from now. Can you help me out here?
I'll try.
So the guy who runs the PGA of America says he's been talking with Mickelson a lot these last couple of months. And he said, I don't want to speak for Phil, but I'll at least speak about some of the stuff we've talked about. And that he thinks Phil just doesn't want to have to deal with the media and revisit the past in the last few months. Just wants to play golf and that. So he doesn't know if he's going to play, basically because Phil doesn't want to have a presser. First off, I got to be honest, I'm shocked. I honestly, I thought Phil was more arrogant than this, to be brutally honest, that he would either just realize, wow, I screwed up here. I overplayed my hand, whatever it is that how he wants to characterize it. You do the one fall on your sword press conference, which he didn't accomplish in the statement that he released 2-3 months ago, which got ridiculed more than complimented. And you just go play golf. That's it. It's over.
I don't think Phil has it in him to sit through a presser and not at some point have the truth come flying, his truth.
To unleash the lions?
Come flying out of his mouth. I don't think Phil has it in him. Like, I think if this were Tiger, I think Tiger could sit there and pull a Rosenhaus all day long. Next question. I'd not have a problem with it, by the way.
Right. He could do an hour and talk and not say much.
And give you nothing.
Right.
I think you would see Phil's eyes start rolling back in his head, and all of a sudden, if you and I were the reporters, if you and I were at the presser, we'd be like, all right, I want question 14. And you'd be like, all right, if you don't have a follow-up, I'll go after you. Let the softballs come. Let him get off to a start, and then try to figure out the way to manipulate the question a little bit to either piss him off, excite him, whatever you think you could do to get him thinking. Because at some point, the 10th question about the $40 million in gambling losses or whatever the case may be, I think will get the better of Phil, and Phil will get ticked off.
I don't know why he can't do a Belichick. One time. And he doesn't have to do it like Bill, but if somebody brings up something from the book, you just say, I didn't have anything to do with that.
It's an unauthorized biography.
Right. You have to ask Alan Shipnuck.
Well, were you and Alan close? I've talked to him a lot. I've talked to a lot of reporters over the years. You guys should all know.
Right.
I've been pretty gracious with my time.
Well, you could have a good line with that. You could go, well, we used to be. Everybody laughs. Okay, next topic. Just,
But I don't think Phil has it in him. And I've maintained that throughout.
Well, then don't do the presser. Here's the other thing. You don't have to talk. You're independent contractors. You say to the guy at the PGA, I'm not talking. Sorry. I know a defending champion usually sits down and talks. I'm not talking. Because they're going to want to talk about everything but the PGA. And really, you want me to talk about the PGA. Now, if you want me to sit down with you guys and you want to release something on behalf of the PGA of America, and I talk about, how last year was special and, it'll be great to be back, especially since I haven't played in 4 months. I was so looking forward to this. The course has been redesigned. It looks great. Control the narrative, for goodness sakes. I don't see this being as complicated. I'm sorry.
Well, and I think you shut a couple people down.
Yeah.
With the LIV tour questions and just say, I've said all I'm going to say about that.
Right.
And once you've said that 4 times, you actually can become a little more arrogant with your answer. and simply say, guys, it's the fifth time you've asked me the same question.
Right.
I've given you the same answer 4 times in a row. What makes you think that the fifth time I'm going to answer this question any differently? I've told you. I've said all I'm going to say about that. Let's talk about this upcoming tournament. And if you don't want to, if you have nothing about the upcoming tournament, then you look over whoever's in charge and go, I guess I'm done here.
I guess they don't want to talk about the PGA.
So I think I'm done here. Okay. And then you get up and you leave.
Right. I don't think this is that big a deal. Faldo, because Nance and Faldo did their media to CBS as the PGA, and so they did their little media session. And Nance, by the way, says that this will blow over. And my answer to that is not if he goes play in the LIV series. It's not. Now, if he doesn't, if Phil backs down and Phil is going to let others play, and he's going to play the PGA and the U.S. Open and a few other events and lay low for the rest of the year, yeah, I do think it blows over. But if Phil plays, it'll be the final paragraph on his Hall of Fame resume. And that's all that's going to get talked about. The end of his career on the PGA Tour, and he went and this and things that he said and all that. I just don't know why. I mean, we have athletes all the time who compartmentalize. Phil said months. You know, Phil should look right at him and go, guys, whatever I've said in the past and with all the other stuff that's going on, that's not the big story. The big story is, quite frankly, am I still good enough to play at this level? I haven't played very well since I won the PGA a year ago. Been working hard at my game, blah, 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 whatever. That's the golf story. If you guys aren't interested in it, I get it. I'm kind of curious. I have no idea how I'm going to play this week.
I'll tell you, the only question that I'd ask that has nothing to do with the LIV that I'd love to get an answer for that I wouldn't. Phil, were you suspended by the PGA Tour?
Right. There you go. Fair question. Very fair question.
And if he hems and haws, I'd be like, no.
It's a yes or no question.
It's just a yes or no question. Phil, were you suspended by the PGA Tour?
Were you suspended? Because you're allowed to say if you were suspended. The tour's like, we don't comment on suspension. Doesn't mean you can't.
I mean, there's been a lot of speculation that you were suspended, that this league was not of your own doing. Were you suspended from the PGA Tour?
Why did you not play the Masters? The Masters. And why are you playing in the PGA 5 weeks later? No offense to the PGA.
It ain't the Masters.
It ain't the Masters. Why are you playing? What's changed in the last 5 weeks so that you're playing in the PGA, but you didn't play the Masters?
And did you consider going to the Masters dinner, even though you weren't? I mean, there's a bunch of those questions that I think are golf related that are relevant.
Yeah.
You got Gary Player and Jack Nicklaus in the room. Phil, we know you respect the hell out of these guys. Why didn't you show up for the dinner at least?
Right. Could fly in Tuesday, do the dinner. You could fly out that night.
Because you and I were both of the opinion that Phil should have bucked up, jumped on the plane,
Totally.
flown to the dinner, done the dinner, got on the plane and been home by the time, 1 a.m., whenever he gets back to Arizona.
Yeah. And if somebody wants a quote, you release a statement and said, I did it to honor the Masters. It's
the Champions Dinner is a big deal.
Right.
I'm a 3-time champion. Thought I should be there.
Yeah. And then you also could have said something about, plus a historic winner last year in Mariama.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I wanted to be there to, pay my tribute, if you will. Look him in the eye, shake his hand, and say, welcome to the club. Congratulations.
So I think there are plenty of questions that could be asked that are away from the LIV series that I would like to get answered, but I don't know. I don't know if Phil could do it. I really don't. I'd like to think that he could, David, but at some point, Phil loves talking.
Well, and I love Phil, but Phil's always thought he was the smartest person in the room. And so that's why he's normally, I don't want to say confrontational, but so engaging with the media because he wants to prove that his point is right. I just don't think this is as hard as he's making it. David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Hey, it's Mark Miller for the Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. Improve your golf game from home with Orange Whip Golf and Fitness online swing training program, The Training Grove. With a growing swing training video library and a daily program prescribed by golf fitness professionals, The Grove provides a clear path to unlock your most powerful swing, giving you control of your game like never before. Join thousands like me who have finally found a way to achieve results in half the time of traditional game improvement methods with The Grove's revolutionary blend of golf fitness, instruction, and award-winning Orange Whip products. Go to orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. And use code Miller10 to get $20 off your first month. That's orangewhipgolf.com to get started for a free 14-day risk-free trial. Remember to use code Miller10. That will get you $20 off your first month. The Training Grove by Orange Whip Golf, where golfers go to get better. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So I am trying to get myself back into a semblance of some sort of shape. Just,
Right.
You know what? So I have a problem with weighing myself way too much.
Oh, really?
Oh, I could do it multiple times a day.
Gotcha.
So we have a scale next to the toilet. We have like the commode room,
Uh-huh.
and it's the toilet and the scale. So yesterday I'd worked out and I played golf or whatever. I took a shower after I played golf. So I was all sweaty before Eve got home. And I'm like, I didn't really eat much today. Wonder if I held my weight during the day. So I jump on. Well, the cleaners were there. I don't know what they did, but they broke the fucking scale. And I jumped on and I was 201 or 202, whatever, in the morning. I jumped on at 4 o'clock and it said 182. And I went, holy shit, I've lost 20 pounds today. So I told my wife this morning, said the scale's broken. I said, I lost 23 pounds yesterday, just in case you were wondering. And so she's like, now she's left. She's now I got to jump on.
Sure.
Like, haven't weighed this little since high school. Would be great to plant this in somebody's house. It's got the same scale though.
Yes. And something wrong? You sick?
Right. Maybe, Johnny Mac. Maybe.
Well, they say they didn't.
It's the great question about the PGA, because they're independent contractors, but they are members of the PGA Tour. And by being members of a club, they are then subject to the rules of that membership.
Right. Now, what's going to happen is people are going to challenge whether or not the rules are legal. Can the PGA Tour actually have the rules that they have?
Right. Is this like an HOA?
Especially as a 501(c)(3).
Well,
that's,
you know me, and it would you want to know how to get shot in this country? Run for office and say, I want to challenge the 501(c)(3) in this country because there's a problem. You want to fix our tax problem? You want to fix the debt? I can show you how to do it. How is the PGA Tour a 501(c)(3) company? How? Who? What? Here's the thing. I know what you're trying to do over there. You need to have one thing on one button that you can hit, because when you have to start looking for stuff, Felipe, You become a little bit disheveled back there. No, you do. When you're trying to do, how many, we're going to do 2 segments here. You've screwed these up by hitting the wrong button. Today was the day when, okay, 1 button. I'm just telling you.
I have them separated though.
Okay, you know what, Felipe? Do whatever you want to do, and the first time you make a mistake, I get to put the kibosh on it. I'm trying to help. I've done this for almost 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is fascinating because most people are against what Saudi Arabia stands for. Therefore, they don't have a good feeling about the LIV series. Yet at the same point, most people, I think, believe, well, these golfers should be allowed to play wherever, whenever they want. Even the PGA Tour says they're independent contractors. Well, and I'm surprised that that's where Norman and others haven't gone in answering these questions and say, listen, you want to ask me questions about this? You ask Adam Silver about playing games in the United Arab Emirates.
Well, no, instead he said we all make mistakes.
That's not a good answer. And we like Greg.
Come back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Logic Man in our Twitch chat room says congrats to the Blades for reaching the conference finals. Yeah. Swept Jacksonville in the second round. Winners of 7 of their last 8. And looks like they'll play Reading. Reading's up 3-1 against Newfoundland.
Oh, I really want Newfoundland to come back. I love the idea of a Southwest Florida Newfoundland conference final.
You love the travel aspect of it, don't you?
I do.
My understanding is Blades will not have home ice advantage in either series, even though they scored more points than Newfoundland. I guess winning percentage is now the tiebreaker, not points. So my understanding is the Blades will not have home ice advantage, but also my understanding that arena availability becomes a pretty big issue this time of year.
Unlike NFL stadiums, most ECHL venues are used for a lot of things other than hockey. In fact, their bread is buttered by things that are not hockey in a lot of times.
Are you trying to say that putting together the ECHL playoff schedule involving far fewer teams is much harder than putting together the NFL schedule?
I think it's close. I think there are far more conflicts to deal with in the ECHL playoff schedule. That's all. No networks.
Right. No lobbying for certain games. The official leak today, NBC, considering, yesterday was a Fox leak and the day before was a CBS leak and Monday was ABC's official leak. NBC's sanctioned leak by the NFL. Week 4, Mahomes and the Chiefs, Sunday Night Football in Tampa against Brady and the Bucks.
I'm just trying to figure out now, the only thing left for the schedule game is the Moulton schedule. Do you actually get to do games in Florida this year?
Got one Bucks playoff game last year. Got the wild card game against the Eagles. That was it. Was the only, got the Dolphins Thursday night game.
Right.
Got 2 Florida games last year. I'm curious if we go to Pittsburgh. It's the only one of the 32 teams I have not, done their game in their home stadium. So I would like to go and do a Steelers game in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, you did Pittsburgh for the Open at Oakmont, right? That's been your business trip to Pittsburgh, if you
Right. But the Steelers game, I think, trying to remember, we haven't had many. We did a Thursday night in Minnesota. We did, however, the Myles Garrett, beating Mason Rudolph with his helmet game in Cleveland. Right. So we've done a couple games. We just haven't done them in Pittsburgh in the last handful of years. So that's all. Just to be able to cross that off my list.
Just curious personally, happiest about not working Thanksgiving on this? What day is it that you're getting off that this change has made you the most pleased about?
Well, I'm happy not working Christmas, although I'm going to be flying on Christmas because the day after Christmas is the 26th, so I'll be flying on Christmas. But I wasn't crazy about having to work Christmas. I'm fine with Thanksgiving because, Mark, when I did local TV, I was the guy who signed up for all the holidays. For the most part, I was always a number 2. And when I became a number 1 guy who worked Monday through Friday, I wanted to give the rest of the department as many of the holidays off as I could, except Christmas. And I would tell them all that. I go, I'll literally work every holiday. I'll work Memorial Day, Labor Day, July 4th, the whole Thanksgiving. I'll do them all. I don't work Christmas. I go home and see my family on Christmas. And I'm sorry to have to do that to you, but you could let all your family know right now, we're going to have to figure Christmas out. I'll do the whole rest of the year.
Did that usually work?
Yes.
I mean, you're the boss, so you can say whatever you want.
Yeah,
but
people were appreciative of it. I was upfront. I was honest. I give you advantage in the year, the whole deal.
And it wasn't that you're saying you got to work all the holidays. You took as many. No. And see, I'm with you on Thanksgiving. I worked minor league hockey forever. That's a big weekend in minor league hockey to play the Wednesday, Friday, Saturday around Thanksgiving. Now, fortunately, when I was with the Everblades, we had a lot of home ones. But I've had many a Thanksgiving meal in a bad hotel in the ECHL. Plus, you get some pretty good Thanksgiving meals.
Well, I mean, I have to say, going to see how ESPN rolls because Fox rolls. I mean, they put you up in amazing hotels and they spend money. So I'll be curious what life on the road is going to be like.
I can't imagine it's going to be as good.
I can't either.
There's so many more of them that they do now. They may this is the A team. This is their biggest event.
I understand.
You would think they're going to treat your group better than any other, but when they're also sending people to Maction on Tuesday, you can't have a big. I don't know how much disparity you can have and get away with.
Right.
I mean, they're a large company, so it'll be fascinating how this works out.
So since you asked, and I will say, I mean, Fox to me has the best schedule. Of all the networks, of all the games, Fox has the best schedule. The Fox 425 time slot is the highest rated time slot every year. It's even higher rated than Sunday Night Football. Sunday Night Football is the quote-unquote number 1 show on television because that tracks prime time shows. But the Fox 425 window has the most viewers. I mean, we very rarely did a game at 425 on Sunday that had less than 20 million people watching. I mean, like hardly ever. Didn't matter what game they gave us. I mean, that's the window. Plus, Fox has 2 of the next 3 Super Bowls. And I was kind of looking forward to that.
From sitting in this chair, so was I.
All right.
Leave it to the oldest guy in the show, and definitely the oldest soul to live in the past. Here's David Moulton with Today Was the Day When...
The fighting stopped in 1783, but it took until today, May 12th of 1784, for the paperwork to finalize the end of the Revolutionary War. Mark, the Treaty of Paris was ratified between the United States and Great Britain in, of all places, Paris on this day in 1784.
Always the paperwork, David. It's always the paperwork.
Tragically, they found the Limburg baby who had been kidnapped. They found him dead on this day. in the tragic irony of Hopewood, New Jersey, 90 years ago today. One of the bigger stories in the first, not involving a world war, one of the bigger stories in the first half century in this country was the kidnapping of the Lindbergh baby. Mark Sam Toothpick Jones of the Chicago Cubs in 1955 becomes the first African-American to throw a no-hitter.
Was he like UL Washington and played with a toothpick in his mouth? Is that how they got the name?
I am guessing, I did not look this up, I am guessing he was unbelievably skinny, and therefore they gave him the nickname Toothpick.
Always like the UL Washington baseball card that he had the toothpick in the mouth.
In, right. Played at the plate with the toothpick. Loved it. 4-0, no hit the Pirates at Wrigley today, 1955. 1960, Sinatra had a TV special. Elvis went on the show. So Elvis sings Frank's song, Witchcraft. Frank sings Elvis's song, Love Me Tender. 1960.
Might be on YouTube after the show.
Figured that's why I brought it up. Busch Stadium in St. Louis opened on this day in 66. The Hendrix Experience. Jimmy's debut album today, Are You Experienced, in 1967. Gotta be one of the 5 biggest, most influential debut albums probably in music history.
Maybe the biggest. Maybe the biggest.
55 years ago today. Ernie Banks hit his 500th homer today in 1970. The Indiana Pacers beat the Kentucky Colonels in Game 7 to win the ABA title on this day in 73. The Boston Celtics, led by Dave Cowens, Tommy Heinsohn, I believe their head coach, beat Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and the Milwaukee Bucks in a Game 7 to win the NBA title today in 74. Chris Evert had won 125 consecutive matches on clay until she met teenager Tracy Austin on this day in 1979. Austin beat her in a third set tiebreaker. Chrissy would then win her next 64 matches on clay. So she had a 9-year run where she lost one of 190 clay court matches.
Hey, Nadal, take a look at that.
Nadal won 81 matches in a row on clay. That's his longest stretch. Everts was $1.25 and then followed it up with 64. That's like when DiMaggio hit in 56, he got stopped. He comes back as a 17-game hitting streak.
Right.
The USFL was first formed 40 years ago today in 1982. Pulp Fiction premiered today in 94. Tiger won
with cheese.
Tiger won the Players on this day in 2013. People forget he was Player of the Year in 2013. He won 5 times, but he didn't win a major. And with Tiger, most people go, oh, well.
Disappointing year.
Right. I mention this because there's been some things in the news lately. Voters in eastern Ukraine voted for self-rule in a referendum 8 years ago today.
I don't think they thought it would lead to this.
No. Yogi Berra, Katharine Hepburn, Florence Nightingale, Tom Snyder, and George Carlin, all no longer with us, all born on May 12th. Burt Bacharach is 94. It's the oldest person that I can find that was born on this day. Bernie Federko, 66. Sweet Lou Whitaker is 65. Dave Christian of U.S. hockey fame is 63. Tony Hawk, 54. Jim Furyk and Mike Weir are both 52. And Steve Smith, the former wide receiver, is 43. Emilio Estevez is 60. Steve Winwood, 74. Kim Fields, 53. Rami Malek is 41. Billy Squire is 72. And Stephen Baldwin is 56. And that was today was the day.
Nothing on my end, Felipe.
Just a quick one here. Today in 2014, LeBron James scored a Miami Heat playoff record 49 points in a win against the Brooklyn Nets.
I do think this segment should be changed to this day in history and this day in Miami Heat history.
I will say, though, He's been nailing it.
I know.
He's
been bringing us. He's been bringing us some heat love.
Well, the last one that I got was a triple-double record.
Right. That one, not so much.
Yeah.
For us.
The heat stuff. I was trying to emphasize the heat stuff you're doing is really good. We're on the Florida Sports Network. That triple-double one.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to Boynton Beach. This is an unbelievable story. A group of Good Samaritans stopped a moving car after a woman had a medical emergency while driving. People saw a woman slumped over. In fact, one saw a coworker slumped over the steering wheel. The coworker ran to stop traffic as the car is slowly moving through a stoplight. It ended up where there were 6 people stopped the car. They ended up breaking the back window with a dumbbell and got in the car, which was locked. The woman's going to be fine. The Good Samaritans did a hell of a job. Unbelievable video of this whole thing happening. People literally risking their own lives to save this woman running into traffic. It was quite a scene. For the bad, we go to Jose Trujillo, who was riding his bike home from work when his wife cut in front of him, slammed on the brakes, and started yelling at him. Hit the brakes so hard that he hit the back of the car with her bike. Then she pulled out her gun and shot her husband in the ass. I'm not making any of this up. The man said, "That's my wife. I love her. She was good to me. She gave me a better life, bro, but she's crazy as..." He did say he wants to stick things out. He wants to spend the rest of her life with her. I don't know if you could get shot in the ass by your wife and still want to spend time with her, but this guy does. For the ugly, we go to Cape Coral where, well, a woman was mad because of dog poop in her yard. She went on the door, picked a fight with the people on the other side, and was arrested for battery. Don't poop in my yard, whether it's your dog or yourself. Keep it in your own yard. And if you got to use the dog, get a bag. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, May the 12th, 2022.
All right, NBA, couple of game 6s, both home teams trying to stay alive. Philly, 2-point favorite against the Heat. I like the Heat.
I do as well.
Dallas getting 2 at home against Phoenix. I like Phoenix.
I like Phoenix a lot.
I like Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Like Luke at home?
But you like the Heat. You're not just rooting for the Heat.
The
You think they win.
They're going to carry the momentum that they had from the last game into Philly.
All right. 4 game 6s in the NHL. In the East, the home teams need to win to stay alive. Lightning.
I love the Lightning.
I do as well. Boston, Carolina.
Carolina.
I'm with you. Out West, St. Louis and the Kings can both wrap up their series. St. Louis hosting Minnesota.
I'll take St. Louis.
I'll take the Wild. Kings against Edmonton.
I'll take Edmonton.
And I picked the Kings in 6, so needless to say, I'm taking the Kings. Baseball. It's usually getaway day, lighter scheduled today.
And I didn't have it up, and that's on me.
Yeah, well, the Rays and Marlins are not playing. So you got that.
Yankees in Chicago to take on the White Sox.
Yeah, that's interesting. You could see that as a playoff matchup, even though the Twins are the lead in the division right now. Speaking of the Twins, they have to finish their suspended game against Houston. That'll do it. Miller and Moulton, sign up for the golf tournament, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks for listening. David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and